Make money, make muscles, learn game. If you're listening to me, you're a hot dude. The hot dude life is not about your physical appearance. The hot dude life is a mentality.
Beta! When I went on the Fresh and Fit podcast, I sat between those two black girls, and they're just like, yeah, like I wouldn't date you. I was like, so I'm a multi-million-dollar earner. I'm fucking like I can provide, I can do things, but because I'm not black and 6 foot tall, you'll just completely write me off from your dating pool. And just seeing like just the level of delusion on that panel with all the chicks, and seeing like, you know, what they're what at what level they are exhibiting these levels of psychosis and delusion.
You're supposed to be alpha. You're supposed to be that nigga, and you froze up like a little thought. You bitch ass nigga.
Make money, make muscles, learn game.
What is good, chat? Welcome to another show. Guys, today is going to be part 3 of what we've been talking about, the downfall of the red pill. All right, what we're starting to see in this space, guys, is a bunch of these red pill godfathers or red pill leaders, all right, whether in the greater red pill manosphere space or the black manosphere space, they're all being shot down one by one. It's like ever since this Pearly thing got down, it has been a target on each and every one of these red pill content creators / leaders on their backs, okay? And they've been taken out one by one. Guys, it wasn't too long ago that we did a stream basically calling out modern life dating being on the Whatever podcast and the Whatever podcast themselves, and the notorious nonsense that they were spewing on their platforms, right? Do you guys remember that, where they were talking about marriage and divorce, and you know how women, you know, you should just endure an abusive relationship because that's what God would want. Because, you know, we're traditional men and we want you to live the traditional life. So by that being said, if God is against divorce, no matter how much I'm smacking you around, you can't divorce me. You just have to endure it, right? I didn't think that podcast was gonna catch as much fire as it did. But by podcast, the one that the Whatever podcast with Johnny Boy, okay, but his real name is Modern Life Dating, okay. And in that, we kind of exposed kind of the gimmicks this guy's up to, right? He's charging $700 and pretty much $800 fitness courses, talking about consistency and discipline. Meanwhile, this bozo went ahead and got liposuction with the same hard-earned money y'all gave him. All right, y'all fought and y'all were consistent and disciplined in making sure that you made money just to pay him to get lipo. Make it make sense, right? See, it just goes to show you that a lot of these people, like Modern Life Dating, can come online and completely reinvent themselves, pretending to be gurus, but realistically, they were just dusty brokies that finally struck it rich because a bunch of idiots online paid them to. All right, I'm gonna tell you this: this guy was a elementary or preschool teacher. Okay. It was a preschool teacher in Japan. All right. That was his entire background. All right. And while he was in Japan, he started a YouTube channel called Hollywood Hogwood, which was just cringe as fuck, which is kind of like, street interviews and a lot of like really weird bravado alpha type of phony display that he put up there. It didn't work out, but that was the prelude to his channel that he has now called Modern Life Dating. Okay. And he has been getting cooked. All right. No. This dude has been getting barbecued ever since that whatever podcast, because now people outside of the space are also starting to realize how ridiculous the talking points is for a lot of these manosphere content creators, and none so other than Penguin Zero, aka Moist Critical, aka Charlie. Now, last time we talked about Charlie, all right, he was busy giving Sneeko that work. Y'all remember that work that Sneeko got before he went on the all religious retreat and then came back a new man? Yeah. Thank Charlie for that one. All right. The spanking he got from Charlie was so bad, Sneeko had to go on a religious retreat, all right, to go rediscover himself. And honestly, that worked. Okay. Imagine that. We got the internet Jesus, Charlie, going ahead and delivering our manosphere Muslim Sneeko from his sins. And now he's come back to the manosphere to go ahead and spread the good word, which, to be fair to Sneeko, he kind of has been doing a great job, except for that last debate, bro. You shouldn't have left early, dog. You're like, what the fuck? You kind of left a bunch of people hanging, Sneeko. But nevertheless, Moist Critical is back again with another criticism, and it's really someone like Modern Life Dating, like Johnny Boy, all right? Jonathan Hogwood is the guy, all right? And it's not just Penguin Zero, aka Charlie, aka Moist Critical, that found what do you call it? The Modern Life Dating had to say ridiculous. Also, Abba and Preach did a reaction video on this too as well. So, guys, we're gonna have a 2-for-1 special in this live stream. So make sure you're hitting the like button because it's about to get crazy. So, let me go ahead and y'all just let me know how the audio is doing too, by the way, when I bring this up. But yeah, we about to play it. But I just couldn't believe it when I saw this guy. All right. I was like, bro, the biggest scammer on YouTube, all right, gets his way into the manosphere space, and everyone is taking his word as gospel. Make it make sense.
It out loud. But I've recently found a great guilty pleasure that I've been consuming like junk food. It's those ridiculously cringe podcasts where a few dudes, pseudo-intellectuals, bring on a bunch of women and have the worst debates of all time. It's a forsaken wasteland where normal thinking goes to die. A thunderdome of delusion. It is brain-melting. It reminds me of those old PSAs for the dangers of smoking cigarettes, and they'll like open up someone's chest and be like, this is what your lungs look like when you smoke. And it's like yellow and oozing, covered in this like disgusting slime, and it's very fucking yucky. This is like that, but instead of showing you your lungs on cigarettes, it's your brain when watching this content, and it's fucking revolting. Like, it is actual brain rot, and I can't look away.
And goes into a marriage and has kids when they're like 18, 19, 20. And then a year into the relationship, it gets really, really abusive.
From who?
From both.
This is so rare.
Anyone
so
really.
Rare.
It happens.
Go on.
My point is, I'm just.
That you hear them in the background. It's so rare. It's so rare that females face abuses from relationships. It's so rare. You see how they're trivializing this entire thing, which is crazy. But let's continue.
Yeah, even though it might be rare from what you guys think.
It is.
I already just find this painful. She's asking a very simple question and setting it up, talking about abuse. And already the dudes here are like, this is ridiculous. This is exceptionally rare. This is damn near science fiction. Abuse? Never even heard of it. That's like winning the lottery twice level of astronomical odds. Abuse it is very uncommon, very rare. As a way of trying to like kind of shut it down already, like, you're choosing something very fringe and outlandish. Abuses. It's like a unicorn. It almost doesn't exist. But anyway, crazy lady, go on with your hypothetical abuse thing or whatever you called it. It's just trying to downplay it, which I think is just cringe.
Well, the reason why they have to downplay it, because you got to understand the manosphere is to pump up guys' feelings. Remember, this is the opposite space of what feminists actually do. Okay, the manosphere is doing exactly that. So what they have to do is they have to downplay the issues that men, the problems with men, right? They have to downplay that in order for their arguments to make sense. For instance, if you were to bring up issues that men have, especially when it comes to bringing to the dating market, right, versus women, a lot of times they want to downplay that because they're used to selling their audience bullshit. And the bullshit is 100% it's women's fault, which anyone who lives in reality knows that's not true. It's not 100% women's fault. A lot of times it's just 50-50, right? The same equality you guys cringe at. Yeah, it's half your fault and half her fault, or her fault, right? So you got to figure out, okay, what is it that I'm doing that's wrong? In this case, if you're in a situation where you're in a relationship that's abusive, okay, first of all, that means you got to step away and figure out what the hell's going on with you to get so mad that you want to go ahead and put hands on a woman, all right? And she's got to go off and do her thing. But the key thing here is accountability, which a lot of these red pill manosphere dudes, they somehow don't see it or don't know where to find it, right? Accountability, what? No. For women, yes. Yeah, women need to be held accountable. For the men, what is that? Francois Guerrero, shout out to you for the $2.20 super chat. He says, Playback just posted a video about that 5 minutes ago. Oh, we got to react to it. We got to react. It's about, hey, we're about to have a reaction marathon going on right now, bro. Everybody in the mama is clowning this guy. This is overdue. This is well overdue. This guy deserved to be clowned. Guys, you are push Roller aside. You are looking at the new clown of the manosphere, which is modern life dating. And congratulations, bro. You did this to yourself.
If it would happen, what would you recommend for those people to do? Would they divorce, or do you want them to keep going in the relationship?
Keep going. You can't divorce. I mean, that's not a real thing. You can like separate. See his cap.
Oh, they got discount Jon Snow. This guy was absolute. After we roasted Modern Life Dating that last stream, we had to roast discount Jon Snow, bro, because this dude says some crazy shit. I'm surprised they didn't get on his ass, because he was saying things like, "Oh yeah, women get their feelings from the environment, and men get their depression feelings from how successful women are being in society." I kid you not. That's what this clown says. He said women are just so emotional, right? The depression comes from their environment. And then he says men get depressed because they're seeing the success of women, and I'm like, wait. Hey, go back to being a freaking extra on a set or something of Game of Thrones. I don't care. You look like you're an extra of some kind of a fucking Viking show or some shit like that. You don't belong on a podcast, okay? Especially with your beliefs. You take that shit and whatever the fuck red pill knowledge you got in your head and just throw it all away. Just throw it all away, bro.
Background shines through. He knows. You can separate, but you can't actually divorce. That's not a real thing.
Even though it might be like physically abusive.
You got to endure. People are too.
You want to stick in the relationship.
People are just.
See, I mean, look,
people nowadays are just. Everybody quits. Everybody gives up. It's too hard. I'm this XYZ. This is why I'm special, so I can up this entire situation based upon me being special.
Do you hear what this clown says? Just endure it, ladies, okay? Even if you're in a bad situation, just endure it. This is the same shit Pearly says, right? She says, oh, women just like to get divorced for no reason, right? That's what she claimed, right? And the whole argument with Destiny was about taking out the trash and cleaning up, right? Because if you as a husband, you don't clean up every once in a while or do certain things around the house, especially if your wife's working, well, guess what? That can lead to increased tension in the relationship, okay? So listen, and realistically, if your husband or the other party is unwilling to hold up their end of the bargain, that's usually an indicator of a problem that's greater than what we're seeing right now. All right. So usually that could lead to divorces. That was Pearl's argument, right? You hear the same argument with this loser over here, modern life dating, because with this idiot, he's over here like, oh yeah, just endure it, ladies, because everyone is such fucking pussies. You guys are all pussies. What? Okay, listen. The other half of the group you're talking about, women, they actually have pussies. Okay, so I mean, you calling everyone being a pussy, you must be talking about the dudes, because the other half of the population actually has that. So what do you say here? So you can't just say people are pussies for giving up on a relationship after, you know, the partner refuses to change. You create a toxic environment, you dumb fuck. Oh my god. But let's continue.
Clown puts himself front and center here. You're looking at the chief entertainment for this episode. Fucking discount Walmart brand Sal from Impractical Jokers here. His name's Jonathan, and let me just tell you, he's got some opinions, and man, oh man, are they a stinker. So the question is very simple. If there's an abusive relationship, an abusive marriage, should the marriage end? You know, if the woman is being abused, or even if the man is being abused. The woman who asked the question, her name is Melina, and she doesn't just make it exclusive to women getting abused. Men can also be victims of abuse, something that Jonathan heavily disagrees with. We'll get to that later on. But he is saying that, oh, if it's an abusive relationship, you have to endure. This is the problem with snowflake society now. Everyone's such a pussy, so they'll ruin a marriage because they think they're so special. You absolute fucking troglodyte. It's not about being special. It's about not getting beat the fuck up in a marriage. There's no excuse for abusing your spouse, whether it's physical or mental. Like, it's the most... There is a right answer to this question. And the answer is yes, the marriage should end if it's abusive. 100%. Whether it's the woman or the man being abused, it should straight up end. There's no enduring. This isn't one of those situations where it's like, you know, there's greener pastures once you get through a couple of the black eyes and broken bones. You know, my husband may have beat the fuck out of me a couple nights ago, but he also took me to a really fancy steakhouse and I had an absolute banging filet. So, you know, all of the abuse was worth it, and I'm a little happier today. But it's ridiculous. This is honestly making me concerned. My heart is breaking for whatever woman he's in a relationship with. I'm imagining this guy treating relationships like it's Fight Club. If my partner can't roll with my knuckle sandwiches without crying about it and she wants to leave for it, well then good riddance to her toots. Jesus Christ, special snowflakes can't handle a few of my right hooks. Ridiculous. That's frightening. That is a frightening mentality, that you're telling someone to just endure physical or even mental abuse in a relationship and calling them like a special snowflake or a pussy if they don't. That's crazy. And also his cohort there, the goofball he's in cahoots with, who's like, man, divorce isn't real. Divorce is make-believe. It's hocus pocus. There's no such thing as divorce. Yes, if you're getting abused, you can't divorce, obviously. This is a wild episode.
And the reality is people just haven't learned to endure. There have been hard times in relationship. I'm sure you guys had hard times in relationship. Any relationship has hard times. Okay. And it is what it is. You need to push through and you need to endure, because we're in this abused? Hold on. Because we're in this situation now, like where everybody's just creating this like super nuanced, like 1% example of like, well, what if the kid's transgender, black, and abused, and he's a Black Lives Matter supporter? Like, cool. Okay. Yeah. I get like that one minute
I'm asking
situation.
For anyone that might be in that situation, what would you recommend?
Okay,
endure.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what.
Endure.
I'll tell you what I would do.
A lot of diarrhea fell out of his mouth on this one here, so there's a lot to break down. He had an actual episode of psychosis there. He just started spitting shit that never even came up. It's a very simple question. It really wasn't nuanced. She just said, in an abusive relationship, should the marriage end? It really doesn't get more simple than that. A fucking child could understand the question. There wasn't anything about like all these nuance that you bring up. But anyway, Smash Mouth has his meltdown there for a second, but his message is still the same. No matter what, you got to endure. You got to endure the abuse. He even has the chutzpah to equate abuse to just a hard time in a relationship, as if it's just some little obstacle, little hiccup that every relationship goes through. Brother, abuse is not a hard time in a relationship. That is a fucking crime. That is when a relationship ends, should end.
I wouldn't want my daughter in that situation, quite frankly. And I understand the argument to endure, because I have people close to me who grew up in abusive households, and it lasted for periods of time, and it was a phase, and they endured through it, and they ended up raising healthy, successful families.
Their faces really tell the whole story here. This reaction's pretty on par with that statement. Abuse is not a phase. It shouldn't be a phase. This isn't a normal thing. There's no reason to start normalizing abusive relationships as something every couple needs to go through or will go through. Abuse isn't acceptable. Full stop. Like that's where this was a really easy slam dunk for these dudes to answer. Should a marriage end when it gets abusive, whether for the woman or the man? And the answer is easy. It's yes. A relationship isn't something where there should be an abusive phase. If there is an abusive partner, that partner needs to seek legitimate help and get help for controlling whatever violent urges or impulses they have. But that doesn't mean that the other partner needs to stay in the relationship while they're getting that help, especially not if there's children in the household, because not only is it dangerous for the partner, it's dangerous for the kid to be around as well. I think it's very simple. I don't think it's that nuanced. Abuse just isn't acceptable. Like that's a super easy thing for a normal person to answer, but we've cultivated this culture online where everything needs to be like a debate, even on the simplest topics. Like you just saw Smash Mouth have that meltdown, like, oh, you're getting into all this crazy 0.1% example nuance of abuse and then all of these other factors, like out of nowhere, when that wasn't even what was discussed. It is the easiest black and white question.
To an extent.
So you would say that to stick in those relationships that might be abusive to everyone involved and a child, if there's a
I'm
child
not
involved?
saying like, hey, stick in the relationship and get the shit beat out of you by your husband.
I'm just asking you what you believe.
I'm just telling you,
specific thing.
right.
Even
I'm
if
not
it's a
telling
small
you-
extreme thing, I'm just asking you what you think if you just stick in that relationship or not.
It is such an extreme example that I can't give a prescription for what other people should do. There is an element.
God damn it, it's not even an extreme example. If you just Google it for like 15 seconds, there's so many different studies conducted on the topic. And according to a lot of the different numbers, all of which are a little different, but most of them agree that at least 20% of all marriages are abusive at some point in time. And that's just in reported cases. Like, it's not an extreme example. It's really not. But even if it was, it doesn't even change the question. Like, even in the extreme example here, it's still a very easy answer that, yes, that marriage should end. There is a problem. Now, this guy here is trying to play nice with everybody. So he's like, oh, yes, even this goober over here talking about endure. I mean, there's almost an element of something salvageable of his point. When there's not, like, there's no excuse. Like, you shouldn't be enduring abuse, like, under any circumstance. But he's really trying to give an olive branch over there for some fucking reason. But this guy is at least admitting, like, he wouldn't want his daughter in that. So he does outright say, like, yes, a woman shouldn't be getting the shit beat out of her in a marriage or relationship, and she should leave. He at least will concede that, whereas the other two guys still, for some reason, fight tooth and nail that, nah, there's really no reason to be leaving.
Like that.
Do you have opinions about third trimester abortion?
It's
Yes.
terrible.
Listen,
It's
okay,
terrible.
look at how quickly you can do it. Do you know how rare third trimester abortions are? They're also really rare, but you immediately had a visceral reaction to that, right? There are households where parents are abusive to children. Like, that's not like an unfathomable thing. But for you to have that immediate visceral reaction to a type of abortion, that's so incredibly rare. But then when it's
I
like,
mean, we're talking about like a guy like getting drunk and like, you know, beating his wife occasionally versus like.
I just think that was a really good point from Destiny there. Like, you have a very quick reaction to another extreme example. Why do you not have that same energy when it comes to abusive households? And then the guy starts making some shit up like, we're talking about a guy getting drunk and maybe putting his hands on his wife. Where is that coming from? The question was so simple. They're making up like a whole fanfic plot line in their head about what...
They have to do it, Charlie! They have to make up these plot lines. I'm telling you, listen, if you guys pay close attention to how a lot of these red pillars operate, especially when it comes down to arguing and going back and forth, they have to put you in la la land. You understand that, right? They have to put you in a make-believe land, or you guys got to hop in the Wayback Machine and go way back into the 1900s or go way back into the Mesozoic era, all right? So they can make their point, right? Because men alpha, men go get food, men bring home bacon, and women, you gather berries. That's how society has always worked. These guys, when confronted with facts, they run, all right? Because here's the thing. It's easy to beat women over the heads who are not really interested in having these type of conversations. Maybe they're OnlyFans models or sex workers, right? It's easy to invite them, beat them over the head with your bro science talking points, and have them find it difficult to counteract that. But when you actually have people who are smart, or you bring on women who who have brains, right? Because you guys are selling a message right now. You guys are selling a message that women aren't that smart, but there are smart women that you can bring on there that can give you that work. All right. But then when they are given that work or presented with that work, then they got to hop in the Wayback Machine. All right. They got to bring you into La La Land. They got to ask you all these ridiculous questions that only backs up their fucked up worldview. When you actually look at it, a lot of these guys, there's nothing backing up what they're saying. It's actually all based off of fifis. You know, the same things they yell at these feminists for bringing up, right? Oh, you're arguing from the feelings, and, you know, men are masculine and they don't argue from the feelings, but you guys are not mentioning that all this bro science they're bringing up, it's all from feelings. It's all from what they feel, what they've seen, anecdotal experiences, but they shame the very same women that bring it all up. Do you guys see how crazy it starts to get? I'm telling you, it's the Red Pill 101. Ayana Styles, shout out to you for the $5 super chat. He says, yes, haven't caught one of your lives in a minute. Shout out to you. I'm trying to do them a little earlier and make them a little shorter, so thank you so much for the support. Ana Rodriguez, shout out to you for the $2 super chat. It says, you are smart and you are hot. Please marry me. Hey, present the ring. Make it happen. Give me the ring, girl. Let's make it happen.
What was asked when it was really super simple. Abusive household. Should the marriage end? Like, I actually wonder if she had even just said something even more simple and broad, what the response would have been. If she had asked, do you guys think abuse is bad? I wonder what they would have said. I wager that they would have been like, okay, we need to define what abuse is because all of these special snowflakes have weird definitions for abuse. So let's start really getting into the nitty gritty of what is abuse? Even though it's so easy, abuse is just bad. And an abusive relationship is bad. I don't know what's so hard about it. I don't know what's so hard about them just admitting that.
But well, okay, so
Yeah.
let me ask you guys. In the Catholic Church, I know that there's like annulments for marriages and stuff. Are there
That was a mistake.
Are there no exceptions?
What? Bro, you got discount Jon Snow over here. Yeah, annulments. That was a mistake. Bruh. Like, you are proving these people's points when they say Red Pill is filled with a bunch of abusive weirdos, okay? You can't just say marriage annulment that was introduced in even your greater Catholic era was a mistake. Obviously, it wasn't a mistake when they introduced it because they knew how wild men got back in the day. Because men back in the day, a lot of them were abusive to their wives. A lot of them did have outside infidelities, right? So the Catholic Church needed a way to control the sexual urges of men. So they instituted certain policies for women, right? That was what it is. And you're over here saying it's a mistake. It's a mistake, huh? You see, what you guys got to understand is a lot of these guys, realistically, if the law wasn't imposing strict traditional marriage laws or principles, some of these guys wouldn't win. Some of these guys are going to end up dying alone. Why? Because they can't compete. They can't compete in a market where a woman has options now. Because before, it used to be you make money, you get married, there you go. You have a family, everything's secured, and the law or the church, right, will govern if she wants to separate or not, and usually they govern in the favor of the man, right? Nowadays, fast forward into the future, a lot of those chains have broken loose, all right? There are more equality situations happening that give women an equal playing field. For example, no-fault divorce. So if a woman feels like, hey, you know what? We gotta cut this off. I'm not feeling this anymore. I'm not happy, whatever, they can leave. And a lot of these guys who've been used to how society used to operate back in the traditional days, right? They can't compete now in the free market. So that's why some of these guys are crying. It's a mistake. Those no-fault divorces, those marriage annulments, it's all a mistake. I can't win. These women keep leaving me. I don't know why. Lord, help me. That's what it is. So instead of working on themselves to make them more competitive in the dating market, what do these guys choose to do? Let me just go ahead and run to the Red Pill and try to pressure people to go back to the old days, go back to the good old days, the traditionalism, right? The 1950s. Pay attention. That's all they're saying. Let's go back. Hop in the Wayback Machine, folks. Let's go back when we had the power and we had the control.
For like,
oh
if a
my
guy's
God,
beating his
bro.
wife constantly.
No, there are, but now
Or a woman could as well, right?
Hold on.
Well, there's
Yeah.
also
Yes,
a
she could, but-
distinction drawn between
If a woman's beating a dude,
legal
that
Hold
guy-
on, hold on, guys.
Oh man, blubbery ass Jonathan there just got saved big time by the guy in the middle. He wanted so badly.
He said blubbery ass Jonathan.
to say that if a man's getting beat by his girl, then he's a pussy or he's like a weak bitch or something. He wanted so badly to try and get that kind of bravado out there. Sad to see that this mentality still exists somehow, that men can't be the victims of abuse. I thought we got rid of that stigma years ago. Jonathan's supposed to be a men's self-help guru. How? Actually,
I'm sorry. He's a hot dude, all right? For those of y'all, because I don't know what a hot dude means, all right? He's building an army of hot dudes, okay? They're called the Hot Dude Army. Let me show you a little bit of what this bozo is like, because it's actually quite hilarious, all right? The Hot Dude Army, they subscribe to this crazy ideology or network called the Masculine Empowerment Network, all right? It's only, listen, to be part of the Hot Dude Army, all right, you got to pay $800. All right, $797 to be part of his Hot Dude Army. All right, and within this Masculine Empower Network, see, that was updated May 2023. Right, these are all the things that you learn. Right, but it's not only that. Buddy also has a bunch of fitness stuff that goes along with it too, as well, like your diet, consistency and discipline, avoiding processed foods. And I find that all interesting coming from a guy who got liposuction. Consistency and discipline, yet you over here getting liposuction. Make it make sense, buddy. Like, how does that work? How are you over here preaching and promoting something and you taking the easy way out? And you notice how Charlie called him a blubbery dude, right? It's funny, bro. You got liposuction. You spent all these people's money on cheating and you still look fat. Ain't nothing changed with you, bruh. You still fat as fuck. So why spend your money, or at least your audience's hard-earned money, on liposuction, and it's not even working for you? People still look at you as a little fat boy. I'm sorry, dog. Like that pudgy kid off of what's that show? iCarly. Gibby. Yeah, you're a Gibby, bro. Like if he grew up and dyed his hair black, that's you, bro. You're a fucking Gibby. All right. So like, how is it you spent all this money on lipo, come out looking like a Gibby? It doesn't make sense. But realistically, it just goes to show you that these people, all right, they don't practice what they preach. They just come online and preach nonsense because it makes them money. So if Charlie's asking, how again is this guy, all right, how is he a men's influencer guy? It's because they're idiots online wanting to buy into this bullshit. It is what it is, bro.
Wow. Divorces that are initiated by women, Brian?
80%.
78.
80%.
80%. And what percentage of those women have college degrees?
Well, it jumps to 90% if they're college educated.
Just look at this guy.
Brian, please present the stats to the class. What percentage of divorces are initiated by women? 80%? Thank you, Poindexter. That's sickening. 90% if they're college educated? I rest my case. That's why I only marry 18-year-olds now. They're too young to have a college degree, thus they can't divorce me. What does this have to do with anything? Okay, so you don't want to marry college-educated women? You want to marry dumb women? Like, I don't know. What you want to just marry a lobotomite sex doll? Cool. Like, who cares? It doesn't.
Hey, they got that Chat GPT, but for AI, and it's all sexual too. Listen, that shit about to blow up. A lot of these dudes about to get them some digital girlfriend. Listen, there's a reason why the Redpill hopped on this, female hate bandwagon group that's turning a bunch of boys into incels, literally involuntary celibate people, meaning they can't even have sex even if they tried. Okay. Guess who's gonna be adopting to this sex GPT bot that's gonna be coming out? All right, this virtual girlfriend that pretend to suck your dick. That's what's gonna happen. A lot of these bozos are gonna dive headfirst into it. I don't know what else to tell you, but this shit, listen, it's bigger than what we're seeing right now. A lot of men are actually in trouble, and most of them don't even realize it.
Matter. This has nothing to do with the core question anymore. It's gone fully off the rails and unhinged. They're so focused on picking apart divorce itself. So now they're spouting these stats and making each other mad. So one of the dudes is like, real. And then the other guy is taking a huge deep breath. Why, I oughta. Just hearing that number's making me mad enough to put hands on my spouse because she might have considered a divorce at some point. Like, it's ridiculous. This has nothing to do with what was asked.
They
Can
are
I ask,
extreme.
Well, I
ask
agree
another-
with that,
I want to ask
but-
like one
okay.
more scenario, okay?
Please.
What about if
I was giggling so fucking hard because you can hear, I'm pretty sure it's Jonathan go, oh, Jesus. When she says she wants to ask another scenario. Why are you even here? The whole point is to communicate with the women, your guests, right? To ask them stupid questions and shit. Like, if you're so bothered with them talking, what the fuck are you even doing there?
Hey, you gotta understand, Charlie. You gotta understand. A lot of these guys, they actually don't know how to communicate with women. All right, they think women are these bots that just sit there and you could talk at them, say whatever you want, order them to do whatever you want, and then they'll just do it, right? Because they don't have feelings themselves. That's the way these guys operate. They actually don't know the first thing when it comes to talking to women. They know how to talk to 304s. They're well versed in talking to 304s. Because all they have to do is leave with their money, and that's it. But we're talking about real women. These guys don't understand what an interaction with the real woman is, okay? Everything they've been doing up at this point has been bought and paid for. So you're absolutely wrong on that, Charlie. They don't know how to talk to women at all. So that's why whenever a girl talks, they're always throwing their faces, they're always doing something crazy because they don't... To them, they don't have any other response but to go in on her. That's the only response they've gotten to.
if people get married to have a kid and then the wife starts cheating, do you think they should divorce?
Absolutely.
They should
Yeah.
divorce then?
Jesus himself
You don't
said.
think
But wasn't it
Jesus,
illegal?
hold on.
Adultery.
Jesus
And you
himself
could like
said.
work things through, right?
Jesus himself said in cases of adultery, divorce is
So you think that
permissible.
divorce is worse than physical abuse?
Gotcha.
For the
Or
children,
cheating, sorry. You think that
Cheating
cheating
is
is
worse
worse than physical abuse?
for the
Sorry.
children, yes.
I actually let
Here comes MLD. Do you think cheating is worse than domestic abuse? This bozo says no. You know what? Cheating's actually worse than domestic abuse. Fucking A, bruh. And you know why? Because here comes the religious trumpeteers, right? Because the Bible speaks out against divorces, all right? And what about the children? You got to stay together for the children. Go ask the young men who are grown up watching their father beat on their significant other, like their mothers, right? How many of these kids grew up in these crazy households watching parents yell at each other, scream at each other, throw crap at each other? Is that the lifestyle you recommend? Because it's better than both parents separating and the kids not having to deal with all that. That's the mindset of a red pillar, right? They pull in so much jargon, right, to make their points. When they get cornered, it all falls against them, and they don't even realize it. This guy just made an argument for domestic abuse. You let him talk long enough. All you gotta do is just let them talk long enough, and they expose themselves.
out a full belly laugh. So she brings up cheating and unanimously like, yes, obviously you have to divorce when the woman's being a whore. If you've got a slut for a wife, you gotta fucking divorce that harlot, that harpy. Duh. Are you stupid, lady? Absolutely, you have to divorce there. After they spent like 6 minutes about, well, actually, divorce is one of the most evil things that can ever happen. Divorce is unacceptable. Physical abuse, okay, abuse, you have to endure because you can't divorce. But then when it's cheating, it's like, yeah, you got to divorce. Jonathan even says crucifixion is warranted. I'm sure he's just being exaggeratory, but he does point blank say that cheating is worse than abuse for the kids, which is a wild take. Both are awful. Your father beating your mother or your mother beating your father in front of your kid is just as damaging as one of them being unfaithful. These are both horrible things, both of which should end in divorce. But for some reason, they seem to only have a real visceral response when it comes to cheating. And then the guy in the middle even gets immediately religious, like, well, in the Bible it says, you know,
they always do that. They always do that, and I can't stand it because some of these dudes, they don't even know the Bible like that. Because you look at their lives, they live in sin right now, but they come online to preach righteousness. Oh, the good righteousness on you, okay? All right, you got to do as I say as a woman, and as a man, it's okay. I'm allowed to do whatever I can because the rights and power has been bestowed on me by God. That's right. God gave us rights, and you women, we protect the rights. So technically, you don't have rights aside from a man. So if a man has rights, you have to worship us. That's the mentality. They have to bring religions into it because religion puts them in the dominant. It's the only authority figure that they can look to that validates their point in placing men in authority positions in a world that requires 2 incomes. Make it make sense, right? Even though you live in a house where both y'all are working, the man still wants to be the head of the household, and he wants you to do all the feminine chores while still going out there and working. Instead of coming to a compromise like most adults do, these guys are acting like they're it's just like, listen, I get it. A lot of these high value guys, they taught you that you got to have the 6s, the 6 figures, the 6 networks, the 6 years of making however income and whatever Rolo determines as calling a high value man, right? But realistically, that's not the real world. Most of you guys are going to be average, dealing with other average women, and average women work. So do average men. And when they come together, both of their average incomes also combine to make a living household, okay? A livable, what do you call it? Economic livable condition, all right? That's just what it is. A lot of these guys don't think about that no more. They think that they should be, controlling the finances, controlling the women, what they're dressing, the children, and everything's okay as long as, God ordained it. Like, y'all need to stop with this. This God nonsense is making y'all look kind of crazy. All right, it's like somebody bringing, like, what do you call it? When they talk about chakras and stones and all that stuff like that, it just starts to make you look crazy after a certain point. Just keep that in mind.
Cheating's on the table. That's when divorce is absolutely necessary. Well, what the fuck? The Bible also doesn't preach for beating the fuck out of your spouse either.
Fact.
I'm sure you can also divorce in a case like that. So why didn't we get biblical when abuse was brought up? Why did we start trying to justify different levels of abuse, and it might be a phase where it's going to get better after and this and that? Dude even wove a whole fanfic about, like, we're talking about a man who gets drunk and maybe occasionally hits his wife. Like, what the fuck? Like, why are you making excuses for abuse and not for cheating all of a sudden, right? Like, and Melina even calls that out. She's like, oh, well, what about, like, working through it, or, maybe the cheating's a phase? And like, no, absolutely not. Cheating is the end all be all. This is just crazy. Like, I was absolutely howling with laughter when we got to this segment in the podcast.
I think I'm not going to say this is worse. Divorce is worse for the children. I already said that if a woman's getting abused, I think
he really has to think about it.
If it's a brief temporary thing, like,
what if it's mental abuse?
Okay, now
it's less cut and dry.
I think there's a small chance that Jonathan may have misunderstood the question. He may have thought he heard, is divorce worse than abuse? And that's what he was saying, that divorce is worse than abuse for the kids, which is still a fucking stupid take. So I'm going to tackle that one as well. What the fuck, man? You think that somehow kids witnessing their parents beating the shit out of each other is somehow less damaging than if they had just gotten divorced? You've got some issues you need to work through.
They all
My
do.
Goodness.
They
and then
all
also
got
that lady
issues.
that's behind them is saying that it's less cut and dry when it comes to mental abuse. Why? Abuse is abuse. What are you talking about? So far up until this point in the episode, she hasn't said too much. She mainly just kind of agrees with everything the guys say. But she says it's less cut and dry when it comes to mental abuse, which leads me to believe that she thinks it should be cut and dry when it comes to divorce for physical abuse. But she didn't say anything. She didn't chime up and say, like, hey, I agree, the marriage should end then. She just stayed silent. Because
the reason why the guys stay silent, Charlie, is because if they don't, they're gonna get Frank Castle. Okay, that's the thing. A lot of these women, they got what do you call it? They got Stockholm syndrome. You know what I'm saying? When they get on the show, they see all the other girls get kicked out for voicing their opinions, so they gradually limit themselves to saying nothing or agreeing with the guys so they don't get kicked out. That's just it. A lot of these women on these platforms, they have a huge case of Stockholm syndrome. So don't be surprised when you see a lot of the ladies agreeing with those bozos. That's just what it is. Guys, we got to play another angle to this, all right? Because Abba and Preach also did an interaction or reaction with this, and I found their reaction even more hilarious. So let's go ahead and play this tab real quick.
If there's someone that's very, very young, might be really religious and like values marriage a lot, and goes into a marriage and has kids when they're like 18, 19, 20, and then a year into the relationship, it gets really, really
from who?
From both.
This is so rare.
Anyone
so
really.
Rare.
It happens.
Go on.
My point is, I'm just even though it might be rare from what you guys think,
it is.
If it would happen, what would you recommend for those people to do? Would they divorce, or do you want them to keep going in the relationship?
Keep going.
You can't divorce. I mean, that's not a real thing.
Again, we got discount Jon Snow. You can't divorce. Divorce is not a real thing. Come on.
You can like separate. See, his Catholic background shines through. He knows.
man,
You can't divorce.
really
You can separate, but you can't actually divorce. That's not a real thing.
Even though it might be like physically abusive.
You got to endure. People are too.
You want to stick in the
People
relationship.
are just.
I mean, look,
people
I'm gonna be
nowadays
honest.
are just pussies. Everybody fucking quits.
If you're looking for me, I'll be in my home space over here.
What, you're not willing to endure this?
Yeah, I'm divorcing this subject.
Divorce isn't real.
You have to endure. I understand the sentiment that people feel like folks divorce too easily and for the wrong reasons. Okay. I understand. And I can even get behind that sentiment to a degree.
But also, people marry for the wrong reason and too easily. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, beating your wife is a good reason for a divorce. I like, you can say, okay, well, I stuck through it and we figured out, and maybe you have, but expecting other people who are getting their ass beat to stay in a marriage where they're getting beaten up is crazy. Endure. People quit too easily nowadays. What? That's a response to somebody who's being physically beaten by their partner? You know, they sit here and they talk about single parent households this, single parent households that. Do you think it's good to raise a child
in a violent environment? That's even worse. There's some relationship you talk about it's bad to be single. There's some people that are still together and has been a detriment to kids. Why? Because it was a toxic environment. But whatever.
I'll even say this. I think it's far worse to grow up in an environment where your dad beats your mom on a regular basis, or he beats the kids, or then he beats him, whatever it might be. That's way worse than growing up in a single parent household. I wouldn't even consider the two in the same ballpark. You have to understand. Okay, I hate bringing this up because people make it a bigger deal than this, but then you have these retards who get on podcasts and proudly say, you should endure, you should endure. You do realize that most of the people who die in relationships as a result of spousal violence are women, right? So
yeah, Abba actually brings up a really good point. Domestic, that's why a lot of governments and officials that enforce the law, they take domestic violence very, very seriously, because most oftentimes it does lead to someone either getting seriously hurt or dying. It's actually a lot more of a common case than a lot of these red pillars would like to admit. Go look it up. Domestic violence is one of the biggest killers of partners in relationships, right? It's crazy. That's why they take it so seriously. So when you come to the manosphere space and you're seeing guys just say, oh, that's such a small example, you're using one example to make a huge point. These are the guys that actually don't do any research whatsoever. Domestic violence actually occurs a lot more frequently that these manosphere guys will let you to believe, okay? You're looking at the internet. Go research in the real world. It's bad. It's really, really bad. That's why these when they get called to a domestic situation, the cops in some states are instructed to take the man out of the household, no matter what. I mean, it's unfair. It doesn't matter if the man did anything. He doesn't have to throw a punch or even do anything. If you guys it could just be an argument, all right? If they classify it as a domestic situation, the man is going to get removed out of the household in most cases because they consider that person a primary aggressor, right? Even though the woman starts it, they don't care. That's how serious they take a lot of domestic issues. Why do they deem most men primary aggressors in divorce relationships? Because it's usually the most men who deal the most damage when it comes to these relationships when it gets violent. So that's why. So they don't play with this domestic thing. Only in the manosphere do you come in and hear the word that, oh no, these things don't really happen. It's just make believe. No, it's for real, bro. That's a good point Abba brought up.
How do you expect any of your movements to be taken seriously and to not be seen as anti-women when your advice to women who are being beaten up by their partners is to endure?
Everybody fucking quits. Everybody gives up. It's too hard. I'm this XYZ. This is why I'm special, so I can fuck up this entire situation.
Or maybe the person who fucked up and gave up is the person who beat their partner. Is that not a possibility? To me personally, the person who decides to lay their hands on the person they're supposed to protect to their dying breath is probably the deadbeat loser who gave up on the relationship. But maybe that's a hot take. Maybe I'm the retard in all this.
I'll tell you what. Endure. I'll tell you what I would do. If my daughter was in a relationship with a guy and she gets married to him and he starts abusing her a year into it.
No. Wait. No. Time out.
Time out. Time out.
No way. There's no way.
Time out. So when it's your daughter kill him, no, she should endure. But when it's other people, they shouldn't get divorced.
That's facts. Listen, that's what I'm saying. Listen, these guys, that's why when we tell you they talk like they don't have women in their lives that respect them, right? Either a mother or a daughter or whatever it is, or a cousin, whatever it is, right? We're telling the truth, because realistically, if they did, you notice that a lot of times they won't want their family members to go through the bullshit they're willing to subject other women through, right? Hey, listen, if it's you, sit through that domestic violence. Stay getting your ass whooped by your significant other. But when it comes to my kid, oh, hell no. No. Right? Look at Roll Tomasi. He's going to sit there and tell you, oh, yeah, don't get married, and guys, get vasectomies, because that's the new way to be a high-value man, all right? That's the quickest way to be a high-value man. Meanwhile, he's married. His daughter, I think she's about to get married, right? They all listen, bro. They're all capping. When it comes to them, they not going to listen. You know the old saying where, hey, what do you call it? A drug dealer don't get high from their own supply. That's the same thing with these guys, all right? They don't get high off their own red pill bullshit when it comes to them, all right? But when it comes to you, oh, yeah, they'll sell you all day long. You can sit here and keep paying them all day long to get you high off this red pill bullshit. But when it comes to them, they don't get high off their own supply. They don't even believe the crap they're saying. So just keep that in mind. And I was even just looking at the stats right now. Domestic violence is actually more common than we actually think. All right, let me share this tab real quick. It's saying that it says 1 in 4 women are abused and 1 in 9 women experience severe physical violence, right? And this is physical violence. This is 1 in 4 women and 1 in 9 men. And it says on average, nearly 20 people per minute are physically abused by an intimate partner in the United States alone. You see how that breaks down? 1 in 4 women, all right, and 1 in 9 men. But that equates to 20 people per minute getting physically abused. Listen, what? Another minute just went by. 20 people just got abused in their households. Yet these red pillars are going to sit here and convince you that domestic violence is just... No. You're only using one example. We're only using one example, okay? That's not indicative of the real world. 20 people. Oh, that's another minute. Another 20 people got abused. This is what we're dealing with, the idiocy. You see what I tell you? It's bro science for a lot of these red pillars. I'm not joking. They for real on this bro science shit. They don't even bother to do the research to find out that, nah, bruh, it's crazy. Look at this. Even the homicide rate. 72% of all murder-suicides involve an intimate partner. 94% of the victims of these murders are female. Where's the equality in that? Look at this shit, dude. This is homicide study within the domestic violence. Oh, another minute went by. 20 people got abused just now as we're talking. And they're saying the homicide rate that reflects that, all right, a study of intimate partner homicides found that 20% of victims were not the intimate partners themselves, but family members, friends, neighbors, persons who intervened, law enforcement responders, or bystanders. 72% of all murder-suicide involve an intimate partner, of which 94% of the victims of these murder-suicides are female. Yet, Modern Life Dating over here, Jonathan Hogwood, wants you to believe that it's something that just doesn't happen, and you're using one anecdotal example. Nah, bro. Oh, another minute went by. 20 more people just got abused. You see how unrealistic and detached from reality these bozos are? It's crazy to me.
So you see how they have different rules for the women in their lives, but for the women in general that they're not connected to, who they don't have to have any empathy for, they're saying endure. Man says, oh, no. But if it's your daughter, you're going to murder her.
You're gonna murder him.
This is the time when conservatives just sound retarded. Okay, and this is the time where they have, you know how the left people, this is their retardation.
And the reality is, people just haven't learned to fucking endure. There have been hard times in relationship. I'm sure you guys had hard times in relationship, Any relationship has hard times, and it is what it is. You need to push through.
Hard times is such a general thing. So it's like there's a difference between you guys are going through financial struggles and you giving your girl black eyes because you don't like your job. You know what I mean? Like there's a difference between those two things. Yeah. Me and Preach, we've been struggling through things. Oh yeah, Preach been stealing from my bank account every month. That's a different kind of endure. You know what I'm saying? What you looking at me for?
Yeah, that's crazy, bro. Honestly, I didn't even know that like the homicide rate for women was that high. But I'm actually kind of shaken up. 94% is a big ass number, bro. That's like 6% away from 100%. That means a lot of these dudes who are committing these murder suicide 9 times out of 10, they're killing their wives. I'm stuck. I actually thought that number was like in the 70s and 60s. I didn't think it was that bad, but even just doing the research now, bro, I kind of feel stupid. I'm not going to lie. 94% of women dying in freaking domestic abuse situations, that's crazy, bro. That's an insane number. And for people who have daughters, for people who have mothers, for people who have cousins and sisters in relationships right now with other men who may or may not be emotionally stable, this makes you to be a little bit more like you should be a little bit more on the money, right? On the ball. If your sister's coming to you and saying that her husband's, displaying a lot of these abusive tendencies, you might want to take a look at that and probably investigate that a little bit to make sure she's fine. Because 94% of the time, if that shit gets crazy, your sister's probably gonna die. Your daughter's probably gonna die. Hell, if your mama gets into a new relationship, she might go bye-bye at the hands of these unstable people. So I'm stuck on that. I didn't even know that was a crazy number. That's crazy, bro. You never hear this shit in the manosphere. You never hear this crap at all.
Don't put shit on me I haven't done.
I never said you did. I'm giving a hypothetical. Yeah. There's a difference between us going through things financially because the business not doing well and you stealing money. Someone looking at me because you stole money and saying endure. I'm like, nigga, who you talking to?
But even if I stole money,
what?
Push through.
Nigga. Do you know how quick this channel would be over if I found out you sold a whole substantial amount of money?
Of course, man.
I would never live with myself doing that to you.
Same.
Exactly.
Same.
But I don't have to stress that. I'm never having to worry about
that.
But you stole money. It's not even the money. Because you know me, money not that deep. To me, it's the principle.
But endure. Like we got a good we got a good thing going on.
Because I'm sitting here thinking like
it's just money. So exactly,
you could have just asked me to give you the cash.
But it's just okay.
You steal from me.
Okay, so what's the problem then? No. Endure.
Because we're in this situation now, like where everybody's just creating this like super nuanced, like 1% example of like, well, what if the kids fuck
super nuanced? Well, like, do you think
spousal?
Do you think spousal?
What?
Wait, do you think spousal like a 1% thing?
Yo, play deep down.
I'm actually curious. Minimum unaware.
It's not that rare. You talk about if the relationship is abusive, what do?
Nearly 20% of marriages and intimate partnerships will experience physical violence, according to the American Association of Marriage and Family Therapy. Let's say it's not 20%, 10%. That's still a lot. Like, I think if you guys look into your lives,
bro, that's the same thing we're reading off right now. Yo, that's crazy, dude. And this guy is just trivializing this. 20% of victims, bro. Like, that's what it is. And here in the male victims case, right, it says 1 in 4 men have been physically abused and slapped by an intimate partner. 1 in 7 men. Hold on, let me zoom in real quick. Let me zoom in real quick because this is actually interesting. 1 in 7 men have been severely and physically abused, hit with a fist or hard object, kicked, slammed against something, choked, burned by an intimate partner at home in their lifetime. Now, this doesn't include same-sex relationships, but nearly 1 in 10 men in the United States have experienced rape. Oh, wow. Oh, damn. Physical violence, stalking by an intimate partner. 1 in 18 men are severely injured by intimate partners. Male rape victims and male victims of non-contact or unwanted sexual experience reported predominantly male perpetrators. So that's like in same-sex relationships. So even men get abused by men, but like in these situations when it's men on women, like bruh, like these women are getting it bad. Like I didn't even know that. No wonder these what do you call it? No wonder these domestic laws are like they don't play with that. I've always wondered that shit. Yo, this is crazy. Oh my God, dog. Hey, yo, we got to start living in reality, folks. All right. I think we're getting the wrong idea of how reality really works. And it's actually deluding us to believe that we're victims. All right. Even though we are, but it's at the hands of other men. We just read the stats. All right. Majority of the time, the rapes that happen in male relationship, abuse, and all that. I'm not saying that, it would absolve women, but it's usually by other dudes. So this is insane to me that like a lot of these dudes in the manosphere are just trivializing this bullshit. This is crazy to me.
I don't know about y'all, but me personally, I think most of us can say that we've known somebody who's been in an abusive relationship or marriage. I know several relationships for sure. Marriage, a few only. It's not that uncommon. And there's a lot of shame and hush-hushness associated with that. You probably got family members who are married to somebody who beat them but didn't want to talk about it publicly.
They won't, because you couldn't tell them to push through.
Yes.
Like, cool. Okay, I get like that one fucking minute
but I'm asking
situation.
for anyone that might be in that situation, what would you recommend?
Okay,
Do you think
endure.
that-
I'll tell
would
you
they
what-
give
I'll-
up
I'll tell you
divorce?
what-
I don't.
Just repeats the word. That's crazy.
So, doctor, so I have to explain my endure. Yeah. Okay, you're being a pussy right now. 2 Tylenols, a glass of water, go to sleep. Endure. Okay, it's normal.
I got a whole kidney infection.
It's normal. You're in pain, right? And then people think that we're going nuclear with this shit, like with the pain thing and the doctor. Yeah, but it's an illness. It's a problem that you have in your body. It's a bit the same thing with a relationship. When something like that is happening and going on, it can affect the rest of your body. Things like that can actually, and I'm talking about just not physical, but verbal abuse. That affects your body.
There's plenty of things your partner can say to you that you wish you would have just punched you for. Or they would have hit you. And I think you guys can think about what the worst thing your partner can tell you in terms of your insecurities or that would be hurtful to you.
But even your friends.
Yeah, I've seen men broken by conversations at dinner tables. When a woman said something too much about her man, or a man said something, I'm like, woo.
Bro, hold up. Look at this. I'm sorry, dog. We got to look at this. All right? Because these guys are thinking it's better to stay in an abusive relationship than it is to just divorce. Look at the stats on this. Children who witness intimate partner growing up, are 3 times as likely as their peers to engage in violent behavior and to be engaged in a variety of violent and non-violent crime. Children raised in abusive homes learn that violence is an appropriate way to solve conflict. These children are more likely than their peers to be in abusive intimate partner relationships in the future, either as victims or perpetrators. Children who witness incidents of domestic violence are at greater risk of a serious adult health problems, including obesity, cancer, heart disease, depression, substance abuse, tobacco use, and unintended pregnancies than peers who did not witness domestic violence. So these guys are talking out of their ass, bruh. Like, you don't want, listen, having parents split up is better than parents staying together and being in abusive households, because those kids are going to grow up to either abuse other partners or get into abusive relationships because they think that's normal because that's where they grew up from. Or these people are more likely to engage in crime, engage in more violence, or yet even worse, get involved in horrible situations themselves because they think, why not? I saw mommy and daddy do it. So when these guys come in and they criticize single parent households, or they criticize all these other households in certain communities, you got to understand why stuff like this need to be looked at with a closer lens. All right. A lot of times it's not just with the single mothers. Imagine this, right? A kid who's a heroin addict today, imagine what they witnessed when they were young. Imagine what they witnessed in their household that turned them out to be heroin addict, right? Because we got a big opioid epidemic right now that's going on. Imagine what these people went through their lives, their childhood, all right, to even get to that point that's still affecting them today. A lot of times we don't even know the impacts of a lot of things. That's a big problem. So when you see these red pillars advocating for these stupid, nonsensical points that don't have any basis in reality whatsoever, it makes you think, because a lot of times they're creating the problems they're complaining about. which is fascinating to me.
This shit gonna be toxic tonight. You should have just slapped her because that probably would have got over a bit better. But anyways.
Shout out to you, Will.
I'll tell you what.
You just brought a Will Smith there.
But okay. Petty, yes, but
I'm gonna be showing up on their doorstep and teaching him some lessons.
Exactly.
That's what I would do. I also would
but,
not if I didn't have the capacity to do that for some reason, I don't know. I wouldn't want my daughter in that situation, quite frankly. And I understand the argument to endure because I have people close to me who
shut up. Hey, listen, you already lost. The moment you said you wouldn't want your daughter in that relationship, you shouldn't want that for other people's daughters. You can't sit there and say, listen, I wouldn't have my daughter be in an abusive relationship. I'll tell my daughter to leave. But for your daughter, listen, God told me to tell you, you need to endure. Jesus Christ, bro. These people are so dumb. They're so dumb. Who is this guy? No, seriously, who is this guy, bro? Because I think he's lying about his little religious belief. This is an act. It looks like an act to me, bro. You're being pretentious.
grew up in abusive households, and it lasted for periods of time, and it was a phase, and they endured through it, and they ended up raising healthy, successful families.
Abusive relationships are just a phase, but you won't let your kid go through that. But abusive relationships are just we just read the stats. Children of domestic violence are more likely to grow up not only having childhood trauma of this nonsense, but that childhood trauma that you caused them because you wanted the parents to endure is going to lead them to substance abuse when they're older, to get into abusive relationship with other intimate partners, whether they're the abusive people or they're the victims. Like you don't understand, like, well, it's just a phase. That little phase that you're trivializing can impact the kid for the rest of their lives. This is crazy. You guys are just trivializing this.
What about if two people get married, they have a kid, and then the wife starts cheating? Do you think they should divorce?
Absolutely.
They should divorce then?
Jesus himself said.
But it wasn't
hold on. Jesus
and you
himself
could like
said,
work things through, right?
Jesus himself said in cases of adultery, divorce is
So you think that
permissible.
divorce is worse than physical abuse?
Yeah, she got him there. She got him.
She got him, ladies and gentlemen. She got him.
Yeah. Well. Some of them are Catholics. You know what I mean? They wear it as a badge to be able to say
Yes.
Their behavior and what they actually advocate for in other areas, not sure it's so Catholic. But anyways.
And listen, the Catholic, I grew up Roman Catholic, all right? We went to the church and everything. I switched over to Christian. Like, listen, if you look at me, I'm religiously agnostic. I don't buy into the whole Christian thing. I'm one of those people who are just Christian in name or religion in name, all right? That's just what it is. But my true beliefs don't even reflect a lot of these religions that I'm subscribed to. And realistic, I think that's the main beliefs of most of Americans who call themselves Christian. All right, they're not these devout Christians or devout Catholics that, wear all these shawls and go to church every Sunday or every single day, right? And my mom was, but not me. All right, most people are just casual, religious people or casual religious folks. So chances are they're not living according to the tenets of the Bible. But even so, all right, realistically, bringing up this religious shit, what Jesus said, do it. Like, what are you doing? In a world that is largely secular, you're going to talk about, well, yeah, that's what Jesus would do. How do you know? Like, you see what I'm saying? These people come in, this is how they use religion to make their points for them. It doesn't work. Realistically, if you want to even think about it, all religions are part of this one story. Every single religion right now are different pieces of one story. All right, just one overwhelming truth. You just have to read through it all to understand what's going on, or pop a couple acid, whatever suits your boat. All right, but it's all part of one story. There is a heaven, there is a hell, there is a purgatory, and you do come back again. All right, all those two things could be combined into one. Matter of fact, that's probably what it was before people fragmented their own beliefs. But listen. That's just me. You can't take that. I'm not going to sit there and tell you you should believe this because Jesus said this. I don't know what Jesus said. Not even know if there was a Jesus. All right, I don't know, but I do know there's something greater than what we can understand. But for me to sit there and tell you that that's what it is, it's total falsehood, right? Anyone that tells you and they demand that they know the absolute truth, they're lying to you. All right, it's just a lie. One can only speculate. one can only imagine or dream or wonder. All right. That's why a lot of times when we talk about God, he's usually reflected in our own image. Why? Because we're all we've known. All right. Even before we had monotheistic God, we had polytheism. And a lot of those polytheistic God, when we believed in multiple gods, they represented different aspects of the human emotion, right? Whether it's rage or whether it's love, whether it's anger, whatever aspect of human emotion, wrath, right? We had a God for that. Why? Because we were trying to explain what's going on with ourselves. We truly don't know what's going on out there or what's better than us. But these dumbasses come here and tell you how to live a lifestyle based off their God. And most people aren't even secular, aren't even religious nowadays. This is crazy.
You notice the whole endure thing goes right out the window when it's cheating. You can beat your partner, work it out. But if they cheat on you, it's a wrap. If your sister, okay, was like, or somebody in your life was in a relationship or marriage, and you found out they were being cheated on, you'd probably be upset. If you found out they were getting their ass beaten, wouldn't you have a completely different reaction? Which one would you be like, I'm a killer? Like, cheating is a thing that happens. Don't endure it. Get out of the relationship, fine. But your loved one is beaten?
Imagine the guy goes to the girl, yo, what up, baby girl? So, would you rather me cheating on you or beating the fuck out of you? Choose, because it's happening now.
Oh no, man. This is crazy to me that these guys are just sitting here like side dick unacceptable, but side punches are fine. You know, right hook. Like, I don't know. To me, it's just crazy. Hold on. People are pussies. They don't want to fight. They don't want to endure. What about cheating? No. Gotta go. She gotta go. What happened to your endure philosophy? What happened? I guess your emotions are more important than her physical body.
I like the fact that
that's wild.
I like the fact that they always talk about enduring. Like back in the day, people used to endure. Like, yeah, they did. But it's not because they had choice. They didn't have a choice. So they endured. And did that make it better? Not really. There's a lot of people that endured. Remember here in Quebec, back then, they used to tell women that they had to have kids and kids and kids and kids and kids. That's what they were supposed to do. Children and children and children. There was some of these women, more than we'd like to like of these women to you. You'd say, yeah, it's just a little percentile. But more than we couldn't have 14, 16, 17 kids. But they had to do it because the Catholic Church said, you know what? You have to endure and push more babies. And the lady couldn't. And what happened? Death. And then a man was supposed to raise 17 kids with the oldest trying to do the best to, yeah, they endured. They did endure. It doesn't necessarily make it better. Or it doesn't mean that it's a good thing. They used to do it back then. Yeah, look at the ramification of that.
Look, and the preach is actually bringing up a great point, right? And the point is that a lot of these guys, they romanticize the past, right? At least these guys, they never actually had to live in the hardships of 1913. Y'all never had to live in the hardships even in the 1920s. You guys are having this dreamy, idealistic version of what the past used to be based off what you think, right? Back when you were in charge. But realistically, that's not how it was. Shit sucked. They didn't have smartphones. They didn't have GPS. They didn't have AI that could do most of the work for human beings back then. You actually had to go work. And sometimes you work yourself to the bone. So even those people who were the breadwinners of the family, when they had to go to work, they were literally breaking their backs. And what you going to call OSHA? What is OSHA going to do? Ain't no OSHA. You break your back working 12 hours and you come back and do it all over again. Congratulations. Welcome to 1920. And a lot of these people, they trivialize, or not trivialize, they romanticize the past. Like, oh, it was this great thing back in the day, and we're here in the future. Everyone's so weak. Everyone's so lazy. No one wants to work. And you guys don't really understand. If I take the best group of men right now and took them back into the 30s, y'all will fold. Y'all will fold. Y'all will be complaining. Why do I have to work 12 hours? Why do I have to come in on a Saturday and Sunday? Wait, I got to work 7 days a week? Wait, time out. What? At least in 2023, we got Saturdays and Sundays off. You see what I'm saying? And when it even comes to the women, right, it wasn't the same. All right, they didn't have the choice to just get up and leave like that. All right, they had the social stigma, they had all these different stigmas around them. So it wasn't good for them. But now they have the choice. You know what they're able to choose, to be respected over treating or being felt like they're some kind of slave that's supposed to be used for cleaning households and having babies. Again, they romanticize the past. If you actually take one of these manosphere red pill bozos or whatever, you take them back there, they're not going to last. Matter of fact, a 14-year-old kid from the 1920s will outwork any of y'all modern men. Y'all want to bet? I'll put 100 on it right now. Fuck it. I'll put 1,000 on it. A 14-year-old kid back in the 1910s or 1920s, hell, even the 1800s will outwork any single one of y'all modern men. Outwork any of y'all any day, anytime. Because that's the hardship they lived through. A lot of these kids look like grown adults when they were younger because they were put under so much stress. Y'all coming in fast forward 2023 when life got it so good. Y'all never had it so good. Matter of fact, life has been so good that our men have been allowed to be lazy. That's how good life has been. We've been allowed to be lazy and just do nothing but complain. It's not y'all are going into the blue-collar jobs. The blue-collar jobs are still looking for where the men at. They're looking for the men. Y'all not enrolling in college anymore. Women are outdoing us. So if we're not out enrolling in colleges anymore, we're not even filling up the roles as entrepreneurs. We're not even filling up these high-paying blue-collar wages jobs like plumbers, electricians, contractors, general contractors, construction workers, or laborers. If men aren't even filling these jobs in mass and they're in high demand, where are these men going? Where are they? Yeah, y'all want to sit here online and pretend y'all are the builders of society. No, only certain men build that. The rest of y'all niggas are lazy, average people. You don't believe me? Look at how high demand these blue-collar jobs are. The men who actually build societies. And guess what? They not on YouTube. They out here working. But some of y'all who've been afforded a chillax lifestyle coming over here living off the fruits of the labor of people who existed before you. That's a goddamn shame. All right, baby, if it was back in the day, you wouldn't last. None of you red pill niggas will. Just being honest.
Look around the ramification of things and people enduring. That makes up for very miserable people. But then again, you said they're Catholics. Oh, I get it. Nothing against Catholics, but
I don't know. It's just
very square. And
it's I don't know, it's a bit frightening. Just knowing that these people are influencing so many people and some of the stuff that they're saying to young men. It's like, yeah, you're a woman, she should endure you beating her.
That's the dumbest shit I've heard today. Congratulations, guys.
Like, these people might be the result, or might be the people who like sanction, folks end up beating people. Just like, oh, endure it, tolerate it. How about the advice, stick to this? If you beat your partner, you're a garbage ass person and you might need some therapy to fix your own fucking issues. How about focusing on that end and not expecting women, okay, the ones who overwhelmingly take the brunt of it and the worst ends of it, to just sit there and be punching bags for men who haven't dealt with their fucking issues? How about not putting kids through those kinds of environment? I don't know, just a thought. That is it.
That's it for the boy. I want to show y'all something because there's a weird trend that I'm noticing in YouTube, especially when it comes to these manosphere content creators. And the trend is their YouTube channel subscribers not matching their view counts, okay? So we take a look at Modern Life Dating because he's the guy we're talking about on this show today, all right? Him doing this stupid show that got him exposed, right? And we're looking at his sub count. This guy has over 218,000 subscribers, okay? So he's pretty much up there in terms of subscribership. But then we look at his videos and look at this. Look at this. Even the podcast you were on, the whatever podcast, look at this. It took you 4 days to get 2,000 views. 5 days. Like your view, you look at 6 days to get 1,500 views. Y'all see this? And maybe I'm look at this. 10 days ago, it took you to do 800 views. Look at this. Let me go to the lives to make sure it's not just me tripping. What is this? You talking about MTR? What is this? This was your only decent viewership that you got, 19,000 views. That's still low compared to 218,000 subscribers. What is this? Look at this. Hey, are you on them 360 contracts, MLD? What are these numbers? Look at this. 900 views in 2 weeks, nigga. In 2 weeks. What is this? How are these manosphere channels getting all of these subs, but their views are the exact same as ours? Chat, make it make sense. I'm actually confused. We got what? We're almost at 16,000 subs. Shout out to you guys, right? We're almost at 16,000 subs, getting more views than a channel with 218,000 subscribers. What is this? This is worse than the Pearl contract. This is worse than King Rich's. This is worse than Auntie Jenny's. Y'all are on the same boat. This guy's been in the manosphere space for God knows how long. All right, you got 218,000 subscribers. Nigga, what is this? What is this? I'm like, yo, chat, can you tell me what phenomenon this is? I genuinely don't know. I actually don't know why these people's channels suck. It goes to show you either you're buying subs, you're over relying on YouTube Shorts, or you guys don't have any goddamn talent. Look at this. Just bring this up real quick. Look at this. 2 weeks, my nigga. 2 weeks? Look at this. You got a free consultation show and barely 3,000 people showed up. Look at this. Where y'all getting the subs from, bro? I gotta know. Where y'all getting these subs from, dude? I gotta know. Francois Gros, shout out to you for the $2 super chat. He says, would you play the video from playback? Actually, let me bring that up with real quick, and then we'll actually close out with playback, because playback's pretty awesome, bro. My audience, y'all come from all three of these subs anyway. Like, it's just funny. Actually, here's a video right here.
What if the guy is like beating the wife?
Yeah, I'm asking
and then
you what
like
you
the
think,
kids
what you
are
would
like
recommend for
fucking
those people.
retarded.
Wait,
They love Black Lives Matter.
Because I never.
He's mad. He's making their side. Look
Moxie
worse.
says, Duke, you gotta get that. What is this merch popping? I'm genuinely confused because, like, you gotta ask the question, what is this? Like, you're sitting here at this high of a sub count, yet like your views is the same as a channel that has a fraction of what the subs you have. Either they don't have talent or they're cheating somehow. I don't know what it is, but if somebody can explain what this is, I'll be glad to put it on merch. Though I was thinking about it, the only time I would ever consider doing merch is if y'all would agree that the proceeds go to some kind of male charity or something like that, right? Whether it's male improvement, male homelessness, or something. Like, we actually have to provide some real world tangible operations for stuff like this, because I feel like a lot of these dudes, they just sell merch and do other stuff. They pocket the cash, right? It is stupid. It's like y'all are here talking about men's issues but doing nothing to help men. So that's the only way I'd consider doing merch. Otherwise, I'm perfectly fine not selling nothing. I'm perfectly fine just having a channel where I can come up here and just talk shit. That's it. But yeah, help me explain what this is, because why are they having these high sub counts and low views? It doesn't make any sense. He's getting the same view count as Pearl. That makes no sense to me.
No way. Mad cringe. So I tweeted this, what we're about to say, and it was so egregiously dumb. We thought this has to be taken out of context.
I'm like,
bro.
there's no way it's in context.
There's no way this is in context. When I went myself to go watch the entire podcast and make sure I found the entire context, especially because people love to say that people like us like take things out of context. And sadly, it's all in context.
If there's someone that's very, very young, might be really religious and like values marriage a lot, and goes into a marriage and has kids when they're like 18, 19, 20, and then a year into the relationship, it gets really, really abusive.
From
Would
who?
you? From both.
This is so rare.
Anyone
It's so
really.
rare.
I mean, it happens.
Go on.
My point is, I'm
Hypothetically.
just even though it might be rare from what you guys think,
It is.
if it would happen, what would you recommend for those people to do? Would they divorce, or do you want them to keep going in the relationship?
Keep going.
You can't divorce. I mean, that's not a real thing. You can.
I mean, why would you even consider such a thing?
You can't.
Can't do it.
Absolutely not.
Like obviously you have to
Abusive?
keep going. It's so
Abusive?
obvious. Okay.
No, you stay.
Yeah, you have to stay.
There's no such thing as divorce. Like, what are we saying right now?
Like separate. See, his Catholic background shines through. He
Yeah,
knows.
that-
You can't divorce.
Really
You can separate, but you can't actually divorce. That's not a real thing.
Even though it might be like physically abusive.
You got to endure. People are too.
You want to stick in the
People
relationship.
are
as
just.
opposed to-
I mean, look,
people
I'm gonna be
nowadays
honest.
are just pussies. Everybody fucking quits. Everybody gives up. It's too hard. I'm this XYZ. This is why I'm special, so I can fuck up this entire situation based upon me being special. And the reality is, people just haven't learned to fucking endure. There have been hard times in relationship. I'm sure you guys had hard times in relationship. Any relationship has hard time, and it
Okay.
is what it is. You need to push through, and you need
What if
to
the
endure
kid-
because.
Okay, what he's saying, I guess at its core, is true. A lot of people don't really endure, which is fine. They just don't. You don't want the same thing. At the end of the day, if you don't want a partner for life, you're not going to endure. Like you can quit. That's true. But
to the specific example that she is giving, which is basically some form of
Abuse.
DV bopping,
oh, well, it could be verbal.
or that too.
I kind of just assume that when people say abuse, though.
Okay.
But like,
Either one.
so instead of saying like you should figure out how to stop it,
No, he's saying
he thinks the solution is
endure.
to endure abuse rather than to solve for it.
Just take it. Just take it.
Forever. By the way, just take it from now till when you die, bro.
Sorry, I can't. I'm gonna have to take the more serious approach in this because I've already heard this and I laughed at it when I first heard it. But now hearing it again is actually very disturbing. And knowing what he's about to continue to say is also very, very disturbing.
Because we're in this.
abused.
Hold on, because we're in this situation now, like where everybody's just creating this like super nuanced, like 1% example of like, well, what if the kid's fucking transgender, black, and abused, and he's a Black Lives Matter supporter? Like, cool, okay.
What? You mean the stats we just read off? Like divorce happens even every 20 minutes. What was the stats? Let me pull up the stats real quick. Is that every 20 minutes, bro? Somebody, what is it? 20 people or someone is getting domestically abused. That's what it is. That's how bad it is. No, not every 20 minutes. I'm sorry. Every minute, 20 people are getting abused domestically. This guy's saying just 1%. 1%. Listen, 5 minutes went by. All right. That's a lot of people getting abused in just that little amount of time. Like, what are we talking about here? Just this 1%. All right. And it's even worse when it comes to men. All right. Because most of the abuse that happens to men are usually by other men in same-sex relationships. Not only that, but in relationships where women are involved, a lot of the murder cases, 94% of the victims are women. I didn't even know that, bro, to be honest with you. I'm like, the reason I'm repeating that stat is because I thought it was lower than that. I was thinking it anywhere from like 65 to maybe 75%. 94%, bro. Every minute, 20 people getting abused at home. That's serious. That's not this trivialized thing. These guys are trying to make it seem like, oh yeah, domestic abuse, it's so rare, okay? It's just a rare thing. Nah, bro. Every freaking minute, 20 people are getting abused, men or women. And women get it more than men. That's serious. We got to talk about that.
Hey, I get
Did that sound like a very nuanced example, or did she just say young woman in a relationship with in a marriage with kids being abused?
Yeah, you're talking about two separate things. The thing he's doing this thing, it's a great argumentative skill. You do it when you talk about basketball all the time. Where if you say 7 different things, it actually is very challenging to respond to all of them without your opinion. You don't know how to stay on topic, so you just branch out like this, and to attack all of them is impossible.
Yo, she just said a very
specific thing.
She's not very specific,
and he's talking about something completely different.
It's completely different, even more specific. But just for people who don't know, roughly 20% of marriages there is some form of spousal abuse.
Like
20%,
like physical?
Either one.
Oh, okay.
And that's what's being reported as well. It's just such a unique circumstance. Like I don't understand. 20% of the time, people get on these podcasts and they talk about very specific men of like a caliber of character that rarely exists. Top 10 to 15% of men. We're talking about 20% of relationships, and now all of a sudden it's too specific for you to actually have a conversation about. Yeah. Interesting.
Get like that one fucking minute
but I'm asking
situation.
for anyone that might be in that situation, what would you recommend?
Okay,
endure.
I'll tell you what I'll tell you what
endure.
I don't. That's.
I'll tell you what
endure.
I'll tell you what I would do. If my daughter was in a relationship with a guy and she gets married to him and he starts abusing her a year into it, I'm gonna be showing up on their doorstep and teaching him some lessons.
Exactly.
That's what I would do. I also would not if I didn't have the capacity to do that for some reason, I don't know. I wouldn't want my daughter in that situation, quite frankly. And I understand the argument to endure because I have people close to me who grew up in abusive households and it lasted for periods of time and it was a phase and they endured through it and they ended up raising healthy, successful families too.
I agree with that.
I want to ask one more.
The solution is not to endure, nigga. If you're going through a struggle or a pain, the solution is to overcome, to solve for. Why enduring is just lasting it out.
Yes,
and hoping like maybe he doesn't want to beat me no more. Maybe he doesn't want to talk shit. Maybe he doesn't want to physically and verbally abuse me no more. I'm not sure. Like maybe eventually if I just keep sticking there, he'll figure it out.
They're not even saying like try to solve a problem.
They're not.
They're just saying endure. Like this is happening. Just let it ride it out. Just ride it out.
And do you think the real solution in that situation, like that's a difficult position to be in? You think your daughter would want her dad to solve the problem? You can go there and teach that nigga some lessons, really?
As soon as you leave, then what's going to happen after that? Like
They're gonna stalk you. That's what it is. It's also part of the stats book, right? The stalking, it's bad, bro. Like we gotta. Hey, if we're gonna spit manosphere facts, it's got to be related to the real world. No more of this bro science shit because a lot of these dudes are not getting the full picture.
When people speak like this, it's like very clear you all never actually been around a woman or anybody who's been in these type of circumstances or even cared about this happening to someone that you actually know and love. The idea that you're going to show up to someone's doorstep, you're going to teach him a lesson, and after you leave, then what happens after that? He's going to then go back to doing what he's going to do and be even more upset to then further convince your daughter to never tell you about the things that he's continuously doing because he doesn't want you to teach him a lesson anymore. It's not even real conversations y'all are having, bro.
Also, it's just not true. Like, unless there's like a very faith-based reason, like it's not like that guy's Catholic.
Okay, so let me reveal that. Yes, they all are Catholic, they're all faith-based, and the idea of the gentleman in the black and white shirt, his most ideal circumstance is that things like this would never really occur in a faith-based society. If you have more community, then people would just hold everyone more accountable. But when people are separated from community and they're trying to deal things on their own, things are like these are much more liable to happen because then the man or the woman, whoever's doing the bopping, doesn't believe that there's anybody who's going to hold them accountable.
That's such a dumb argument.
It's not only a dumb argument. FYI, for people who don't know, back in the day when it was more community based, physical abuse was actually much more common and to the point where it was actually almost treated as if like a normality, like something that back in the day, that was just something that the family dealt with, not the community. The family dealt with. It was something that went on in the household, and that's how they wanted to deal with it.
Look at this, bro.
Not only because I've heard personal examples from older people openly stating that back in the day, putting their hands on their wives was socially acceptable. Also, there's several studies and research done on it, but also they used to make fun of it and make light of it in TV shows as well back in the day.
Years ago, you did an interview, which may come back to haunt you. You know what I'm going to say, right?
No.
Okay. You did an interview in which you said, not the worst thing to slap a woman now and then. As I remember, you said you don't do it with a clenched fist. It's better to do it with an open hand. Yeah. Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I didn't love that.
I haven't changed my opinion.
You haven't?
No, not at all.
You think it's good to slap a woman?
No, I don't think it's good. I
think it's bad.
I don't think it's that bad. I think that it depends entirely on the circumstances and if it merits it. Yeah.
Bruh. You see what I'm saying? These guys want to go back to the past, bruh. It was so normalized. This guy is like, yeah, you know what? You can't, don't hit her with an open fist, but you got to give her a good one with a nice open hand, open palm. All right, not a closed fist, but an open palm, bro. That's how normalized it was. Like, this is crazy.
What merit it?
Well, if you have tried everything else, and women are pretty good at this, they can't leave it alone. They want to have the last word, and you give them the last word, but they're not happy with the last word. They want to say it again, get into a really provocative situation. Then I think it's absolutely right.
To give her a good slap.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the idea that this is like some new this new phenomenon that's now being acceptable or swept underneath the rug because the community-based society is starting to deteriorate. It's completely incorrect.
Why blame the community though? Like if you're in a relationship with somebody and they're the same faith as you and y'all both practice, it doesn't matter what other people are doing. Y'all both celebrate the faith together. So that's all that should matter. You don't need the whole community to be on the same page with you for abuse to not be the result.
Scenario, okay?
Please.
What about if two people get married, they have a kid, and then the wife starts cheating? Do you think they should divorce?
Absolutely.
They should divorce then?
Jesus himself
You don't
said.
think it wasn't
Hold on.
illegal?
Jesus
And you
himself
could like
said.
work things through, right?
Jesus himself.
I told you it gets worse.
No, I heard it.
I told you it gets worse.
I seen the clip and it's still surprising.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
It's still surprising.
We saw this clip and was like, no, this is the way that it was cut up. It was like, no, this is taken out of context. I have to go watch the entire podcast. I watched an hour and 30 of this podcast and was like, no, they did not say that, bro. I refuse to believe that somebody got in front of the microphone and said this, bro.
I just thought it was cut up in a way where it sounded like it was back to back, but it really wasn't. It was combos in between that was cut out.
The combo in between was endure. That was a combo. That was endure the abuse. That's what the combo was. Now we're about to get into the cheating, and all of a sudden, that endurance goes out the window.
Yeah,
dog.
I want to hear it in one motion. Now that we're not watching the clip, I need to hear it.
Through it, and they ended up raising healthy, successful families.
Can I ask-
I
ask
agree. I
another-
agree with that.
I want to ask
but-
like one more scenario, okay?
Please.
What about if two people get married, they have a kid, and then the wife starts cheating? Do you think they should divorce?
Absolutely.
They should divorce them?
Jesus himself
You don't
said.
think it wasn't
Jesus,
illegal?
hold on. Jesus
And you
himself
could like
said.
work things through, right?
Jesus himself said, in cases of adultery, divorce is
So you think that
permissible.
divorce is worse than physical abuse?
For the
Or
children?
cheating, sorry. You think that cheating is worse than physical abuse?
For the
Sorry.
children, yes.
I think I'm not going to say this is
Divorce?
worse.
Divorce
I
is
mean,
worse
I
for the
already-
children.
I already
Is
said.
cheating
I
worse
already
than
said
physical
that
abuse?
if a
Cheating,
woman's
yeah.
getting abused, yeah, I think she should leave.
Wait, hold on. That's actually important.
I
for the
already
children.
I already
Is
said.
cheating
I
worse
already
than
said
physical
that
abuse?
if a
Cheating,
woman's
yeah.
getting abused, yeah, I think she should leave. Like,
No.
if it's a brief temporary thing, like
What if it's mental abuse?
Okay,
Do
now
you
It's
think
less
if
cut and
it's-
dry.
if
If
it's
you're
cheating and
setting
mental
your
abuse?
child up for failure.
I have to actually think about somebody's mental. Fuck, I gotta think of how my wife's mental was doing in the relationship. Fuck, I can't get away with just yelling at her all the time. Jeez. But as you can clearly see, when it came to the wife cheating, it was immediately like, oh no, come on, that's obvious. No, like, what are you talking about? Before we go through all these loops of enduring, it might be a phase, it could be only a short period of time, and trust me, that's just way better. Like this idea, like I've seen a bunch of anecdotal evidence of I've seen a bunch of families where somebody was doing a bunch of beating, and then all of a sudden, but they endured that, and it's fine. Like it's fine. Like it was just a phase. It's a phase. The person who is being the victim of that abuse, they don't know it's a phase. They don't know that this is temporary. Even if it is, they have no idea about that. And what's even crazier is that you believe that they then went on to raise healthy families. Says who? How do you know that? How do you know the children who watch one of their parents get physically or mentally bopped? Like how do you know that? Emotionally, spiritually, all that stuff. How do you know that they went on to raise healthy children? Like I don't understand that. That is such a, and on top of that, it's so crazy because right now he's getting frustrated. He's like, man, we keep getting more specific and more specific. But you just came up with a very specific anecdotal evidence that you only know, and now all of a sudden that's justifiable for your answer. Now all of a sudden she's, instead of she getting more specific with the type of abuse, and now you're like, fuck man, women don't really have mentals. Like what are we even talking about right now? Like why do I know so
is like the part that makes you look a little hypocritical, maybe say a lot of hypocritical, is when it came to abuse, you knew it was gonna make you look bad, and so you referred to Jesus. You said Jesus said it's permissible. So in this instance, what did Jesus say? Since y'all both follow the faith, what did he say? Why not just go by what he? Why are y'all inputting your own opinion into this?
Hey, listen, agent. You got to understand this, all right? Listen, they use religion as a form to cherry pick from so they can go ahead and base their points with some level of authority. That's it. You notice whenever these guys get pressed, they always jump to religion or jump to God or jump to Jesus or whatever is, or Allah or whatever religion you're following. They have to do that. It's either religion or taking you back to La La Land or taking you back to in the past, right? To the 1950s or 30s or 1910s, you know, back when men had the power, right? I mean, the right men had the power, right? Because here's the thing. When they talk about going back in the day, they're not talking about people of color, black folks, okay? They're not talking about us, all right? Listen. Y'all act like there's a lot of y'all brothers who are falling traps into these red pill and feminist. Listen, first of all, feminism was a white man and a white woman's problem. That was the white woman's problem with her husband, all right? And then it just got broadened to every woman out there, okay? And the red pill is the answer to feminism, meaning the white man's answer to white women's problems. That's just what it is. So it's not for us. When they're saying go back in the day or go to the past, do I need to remind y'all what things were like for people of our color back in the 1910s and 1920s? Do I need to remind y'all what life was like back in the 1800s, right? Do I need to remind y'all even in the 1950s and 60s what life was like for people of color? Do I need to remind you? So this life going back and these usage, right, that they're trying to bring forth, it's not for us. For them, they've benefited. We haven't. We came together on boats. We suffered together during slavery, during Jim Crow. We suffered together during the systemic injustice that are happening. It wasn't until the CIA introducing crack in neighborhoods that separated the fathers from the mothers and from the children. We've been suffering under the mess they created, and yet they expect us to join their movement to help them. It ain't for us. Like, we got to get rid of this red pill, blue pill, purple pill nonsense. That ain't for us. Including these religion nonsense, right? Those of you who believe that you came from Africa, at least your ancestry from, all right? You understand those tribes before Christianity got to it, before Islam got to it, all right? Those tribes believed in multiple gods. They were polytheistic. Matter of fact, polytheism was the religious idea until the Hebrews showed up. They influenced the Greeks. They influenced the Romans. The Romans spread their influence throughout the rest of the world. Listen, this Jesus nonsense, this God nonsense, it's all a trap. They used the religion when they came with their guns to Africa to not only take our shit, but tell us it's okay. God would take care of us in heaven. But we're going to jack your land right now. Just bow down to pray. We all bowed down to pray. We woke up as slaves in a foreign land. Meanwhile, our home was being conquered. That's religion for you 101. This ain't for us, bro. None of this shit was. Wake up. You're sitting here falling for this bullshit. A lot of these people they won't even support your hustle.
It's been said. It's written in a book. You don't have to add on to it. If you believe in your faith, just follow what it says.
As well, if you stay in like these abusive marriages. Yes, it is, because you're literally every single psychologist, we can like Google it right now if you want, will agree that, the patterns that you have at home are going to replicate in their future, right? So if this child gets used to seeing their other loved ones and probably them being talked down upon, being treated badly, they normalize that behavior. So you're setting
it does get passed down generations.
Yeah,
you're correct.
Get some help.
You're setting them up for failure in the workplace and relationships.
I just want you guys to understand, this is like the reason why I sit on this podcast and like extol the virtues that I do is because it's like, I think we need more righteous biblical masculinity in the world where you actually have good men that are going to be good leaders of their households. They're not going to beat their wives or emotionally or mentally abuse them or any of these things. Like, that's why I continue to do this podcast with Brian.
No, I can respect that.
He has a very respect. But again, it's this utopian mind state that's not reality. And so, yeah, I 100% agree. 100%. I'm happy that you were trying to go for that.
The reason why I don't respect it because I think he's lying. That's why I don't. I think he's just used. Listen, he's not the first guy we've heard use religion as a cop out. Okay, like for all we know, this guy can be talking about, oh yeah, I gotta live the righteous path online, but at home, he's a goddamn demon. Who, for all we know, he might be smacking up girls behind the scenes. We don't know. I don't trust people online, especially what they say. So if this dude is talking about, I want to help more righteous men, but he's siding with bozos who are talking about, yeah, you know what? Between cheating and domestic abuse, I'll go with the domestic abuse all day because at least with cheating, it wrecks families. Like, oh, come on, that's what they would choose. That's not that ain't Jesus. That ain't Allah. That ain't nothing. Y'all just using these religions to cope. So if you're going to side with those men, I'm sorry. This guy is blasphemous to me. I'm sorry. He runs a show filled with like degenerate women sometimes. He brings them on promotes degenerate ideologies, and then comes online and tells you he's a Christian man. Make it make sense. Get out of here. I don't believe it. A lady, shout out to you for the $5 super chat. She says, Duke, every day we hear of another woman found chained up in someone's home. Those red pillars seem like they would do it too if they could. I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt it if they could, bro. They would. I wouldn't doubt it. What is some OnlyFans model got like beat up or something like that? Got murdered by her because she had sex with her subscriber or whatever it is, right? What do you say to that, bro? Like, we need help. Like, our society is literally in this downward spiral, and there's nobody to help us. All right? Everyone that's here is just trying to profit. That's just what it is. It's honestly just sad. And these bozos try to use religion as a cop-out. Stop using religion as a fucking cop-out while living in sin. It's disingenuous and damn right insulting the people's intelligence, realistically.
Type of world, but that's never been the world. That's not the most ideal way to build something. What's actually much more productive is to identify certain aspects that can happen in reality, things that have shown to happen over a course of several decades.
And because we need to make men great again, so that we don't have these situations continue.
But you're talking about liberal men who would get epically triggered like snowflakes, and they'd be like, "You're equal to me. I'm gonna beat you up."
But there's probably gonna be cases.
They keep like sitting up these like conservative talking points, but which is cool when it makes sense. But when it doesn't make sense, that's like he just said a whole bunch of keywords there.
Yes, he just said
keywords, and it had
those
nothing to do
liberal
with
words who gets triggered, and you're equal to me. Snowflake. Like, nigga,
yo, come on, bro.
Come on.
Listen, it's called dog whistling, okay? You listen, a lot of these red pillars that follow these manosphere leaders, they don't realize that they've already been subjected to the propaganda. All they need to hear is those buzzwords. That's what they call them, buzzwords, right? Feminism, triggered, right? All these different things. They use these buzzwords because those are the words they've been slowly hypnotizing their red pill base with, so they don't actually have to structure a coherent sentence to make sense, right? They don't. They just have to string together just a bunch of these buzzwords. It kind of makes sense or resemble a sentence, and all these red pill poppers, all they do is eat it up. Oh yeah, these snowflakes. Oh yeah, the liberals. Oh yeah, the lefties. Oh yeah, the triggered. Oh yeah, the softies. They just have to listen to those key words. That's why you notice a lot of these red pillars, if you pay attention to what they're saying, they're not saying nothing but these key words. They've already shown that they've brainwashed these people. 304s, okay, hypergamy, all these keywords gets these guys buzzing. They're perfectly trained. If you don't believe it, a lot of these red pill dudes are perfectly trained. All they need to hear is buzzwords, and they're immediately on their side. That's it.
Come on, you look, because when people, so I was watching this Jubilee video, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it was female anti-feminist versus male feminist. There was a person on there was two women that have interest. There was one woman who was an anti-feminist that was just spitting out talking points. Everything she said, you could tell she gathered it from Twitter. She wasn't.
I know who she's talking about. She was on Alex's stream recently. What the fuck is her name? Oh my god, bro, I'm spacing. Is this one redhead chick that was just on, and she also debated Destiny too. She was just so dumb. What's her name? Somebody help me out, chat. What's that redhead chick that was she was in there with Pearl too? What's her name? Oh my god, bro, that's how much of a loser she is. What's her name? Somebody help me out, chat. Y'all know her. She's this one. Oh my god, I forgot what it is. But she's over there debating. She was on that show with Jubilee, right? And she was on there with this other woman that looked like, I don't know, she looked like a vampire or something like that, right? They're supposed to be anti-feminist, and her points were so fucking dumb. Like literally, I thought I was losing brain cells from this shit, right? It was bad. And all she was doing is rattling off a bunch of talking points. If you guys know her name, put her in the chat. I totally forgot what her name was, bro. She's this redhead girl that's been she's been around Rolo for a while. She's been around the Manosphere dudes for a while. So she's been there. If I remember her name, I'll definitely say it in the chat. But yeah, she's dumb. She is not smart at all, bro. No, it wasn't Femme Sapien, Glass Eyes. It wasn't Femme Sapien. It was another one. I forgot what her name was, bro. She's white. She's a white redhead girl, bro. I forgot what her name was, but like, somebody put in the chat and I'll acknowledge it. But I'm looking for it right now in the chat. All right, she has her own channel. She was also friends with Pearl. I forgot what her name was, bro. It's actually kind of killing me, right? Torsha, yes, Torsha, that's the name. That dumb idiot, bro. Nah, she's stupid. Play a Torsha video. No wonder I had to look. I had to go find her channel. I had to find her YouTube channel because she ended up on Jubilee, and I was just astounded to what I was able to find. Hold on, let me see if I can pull it up. Torsha. All right, this shit was crazy, bro. She's literally what you call a manosphere plant, right? She's got what? Here's a tab right here. She's got this her right here. This one. She's blonde in this photo. Her name is Torsha, right? So she's got 12,000 subs. Good for you. All right, look at this. Look at these numbers. Look at these numbers. And like you should have seen her debate with Destiny, bro. It was just painful. It was just the most painful thing right here. She was dumb enough to put it on her show. Like it was, bro. I lost so many brain cells listening to this woman. I didn't realize a woman like this could actually exist on YouTube and be promoted in the manosphere. This is Rolo's little stand girl right here, over here, just destroying the manosphere name all through mainstream media. That's what she's doing. This woman, it should not be taken seriously. All right, and it sucks that Playbacks and them, they're referencing her. But I'm gonna let you know right now, in the manosphere, she's considered a dummy. Okay, like she's probably right there, just teeter-tottering on that line, bro. To be honest with you, bro, she's not all there. And matter of fact, she actually is probably crazy. All right, she seems like a narcissist to me. All right, because bro, I could go on forever, bro. I like ever since I saw that Jubilee video they were talking about, I had to research this girl because she was so dumb. Because I'm like, yo, what kind of dummy says this shit? And yes, bro, that's what it is, bro. It's Torsha. That's what they're talking about. Let's continue.
Adding shit to the convo, and there was another one that was having like a real intellectual conversation where you felt like he was learning some shit or like giving you a decent perspective. Whether or not you agree, you could be like, oh shit, you could tell some thought went into the way she believed that, and she wasn't just spitting out some shit that she heard someone else say or her friend say, or you can say it at the kickback because you know it's gonna get some fucking laughs because that's a generic talking point. That's what he's doing right now. That's what he's doing. Like actually, a couple of them have done that. Yes, where it's like it doesn't even have to. The convo doesn't matter. You can just say, these fucking liberal snowflake fucks, and everyone's gonna be like, like and on the other side you could do the same thing where you could be like Redpill Andrew Tate fucks. It's like, bro, y'all not adding shit to the conversation when y'all spitting the same fucking talking point. We've heard 15,000 other people say on nonstop.
I think that it's actually very important that those people are on the same panel with the other people so you can clearly understand the difference in intelligence and ignorance that we see from both sides, because it is needed when somebody just blurts out something dumb and we're having a very serious conversation, because they look even more dumb.
Yeah, and also it's
much more dumb.
Proof that there's no real independent thought that goes into shit like this. It's just picking sides.
Just where there are like really, really horrible marriages. And my question is, would you recommend those people to like choose happiness and like divorce and try to like be on their own because being in the relationship makes them really, really unhappy, maybe even suicidal? Who knows? Do you think they should rather stay just because they?
But you're trying. I think they should go to church and return to God.
Like you're taking a very, very.
Yeah, but I don't.
Go away.
Yeah,
you're taking a very. Wait. Hold on.
Let's say if your partner is being really, really, really bad to you, and there's like so many things that he needs therapy, but he's not doing it. Do you think that the wife in that case should stick around for that, even though it might be really bad for her and the child?
You're taking an extremely niche. Hold on, you're taking an extremely niche example. You are.
I don't think it is.
Okay, well,
I think there's a lot of.
So listen, you're taking an extremely niche example and you're blanket statementing it for like the entire solution
I'm not saying
of
it at all.
divorce.
I think
you are though.
No. I'm not saying.
You're just saying like,
no,
what if the guy is like beating the wife?
Yeah, I'm asking
and then
you
like
what you
the
think
kids are like fucking retarded.
Wait,
they love Black Lives Matter.
Because I never.
He's making their side look worse, and they don't even know it.
Bro's talking about Black Lives Matter, bro. You see the buzzwords I'm talking about? Like, okay, you're talking about the Black Lives Matter, the organization that was ran by those women who ended up robbing y'all, fine. But that wasn't Black Lives Matter. That wasn't the real Black Lives Matter. That wasn't the actual ground roots movement, because real black folks understood that the BLM that was being marketed and promoted was just another sham for corporate to get their hands involved and then control the narrative. That's all the BLM was. But there were people who were actually on the streets who were talking about the real issues, like even in our area, the Tony Robinson that happened, the murdered by a cop, that situation, it was real. There were people who were talking about this real grassroots movement, but they wouldn't identify themselves as BLM. All right, the people who are giving BLM the bad name, they've already been exposed. But you see how these conservatives or these dog whistlers, they always throw out BLM that it's some kind of like nick against you for believing that, hey, you know, you probably shouldn't get your butts murdered by cops. Two separate things, but it's one of those buzzwords that it get a bunch of people like who are conservatives like, yep, I knew you supported BLM. Yeah. No, chill, bro. Chill. There are two sides of it. There's the real grassroots, and then there's the corporate BLM that robbed people blind, because that's what they've always been doing. And we told y'all that these people were frauds, but no one believed us until they got exposed as being frauds. But a lot of these conservatives, they're not going to understand the difference. They're not. They're going to see BLM as these. Again, this is why I say when we have these grassroots movements that pop up out of nowhere, you have to be cognizant of the groups or people who are trying to fight their way into leaderships. A lot of times, those people who are trying to get themselves implanted as leadership members are usually compromised. That's why a lot of movements should be closed in-house until the message spreads word by word, right? People by people, not this massive corporate-backed bullshit, because all that ends up being is another operation that just separates people, divides people rather than bringing them together. And that's exactly what BLM was, at least the corporate side of things. So, yeah, it's funny that he brings up that little dog whistle.
Mad cringe. And what's crazy is she's not even specific anymore. She's broadening it. She just said, what if the partner is really, really bad?
And he's not trying to get better.
And he's not trying to get better. It doesn't necessarily have to be bopping. He could just be drinking alcohol all day, or he could be on drugs, or he could not be trying to go out and get an actual job and contribute, or he could be mentally or verbally abused. Like it's a bunch of other things. She had a blanketed statement. A partner is being really, really, really bad, regardless of which one. Should any of them leave? And then literally he's making it seem as if like this is such a rare, this is so unique.
Kids are slow and BLM.
This is so
snowflake, liberal,
triggered.
Bro, they're getting the dog whistling on point. A lot of these red pillars, their answers: snowflake, BLM, all right, triggered, lefty, progressive, liberal, right? It's all these talking points that just merge together to form something of a sentence, but real people can't understand it. Only bozos can. But they're doing it so freaking well, bro. It's hilarious.
I just like, bro, she broadened it, and he still make it seem like
cancel culture.
Saying something like, what are we saying?
I hate cancel culture.
The reality of it is that in terms of just like DV, there's like 20% of marriages that deal with it. In terms of just bopping in general, like regardless of marriage.
Why don't we make America great?
Making men great again is that was also very cringe. When it comes to DV and marriages, 20% of marriages deal with it, and that's just the ones that are being reported. Y'all telling people to endure, which for a huge portion of, especially in America, that was the case, that women and men, if they were in some term of DV, they would just endure. So 20% have actually been reported. Then you have the fact that sometimes they're not even married. They're still dealing with it. 1 in every 4 women have.
Bro, we were just reading the stats. Guys, we were just reading the stats. Like, and I wish they probably put more on this, but like the stats even get worse than that. 1 in 4 women, 1 in 9 men. But they were saying that every minute, 20 people are being abused right now. That's how common domestic violence is, right? Whether it's men or women being abused, it's happening every minute. 20 people getting abused. That's not even, so what they're putting up there is half the facts. But yet guys in the red pills are going to tell you, oh no, it's just a small fraction. You should just endure it. It's just a small fraction of it. You're using 1%. 1%? How is 1 in 9 men being abused just 1%, bro? That's crazy.
Already dealt with this at some point in their life. 1 in every 4 women. And that's just the DV. 1 in every 9 men have dealt with it as well. That's just DV, and that's only ones that have been reported. I know several men and women who have dealt with this individually on my own. And it's more, in my opinion, it's more than just 1 in every 4 women.
That's facts. In fact, these stats they're bringing up, even the stats we read, were actually a little misleading because they don't actually encompass the full thing, right? They're just ones that are reported. There's so much more that goes underreported with these bozos encouraging people to underreport it. That's essentially what they're doing. But it's serious. Domestic violence can lead to death, whether of a male partner. I'm watching documentaries of females that kill their spouses. They just murder their husbands. Sometimes when they're laying in bed, just come up and shoot them. I'm like, yo, what the fuck? You can go out like that? You can go out like that. There's one I'm watching where a woman hired a dude who turns out to be an FBI agent, but she thought he was a hitman. She hired this dude to murder her husband. And the whole time when they broke down the relationship, she was always physically abusive, throwing shit at him. She was what do you call it, hitting him, right? She was cursing. She was mentally abusive, right? Fast forward now even on the men's side, it's crazy. 94% of homicide victims in these domestic situations are women. Like we're not even telling the full story here. Jesus Christ.
1 in every 9 men. So the fact that you're making it seem like this is like this unique circumstance and y'all are in the world that y'all are trying to build, and that's why
they're just saying that because they don't have an answer. So there's like, that's so niche.
That's why it's cringe, because you're passing along something that regardless if you want to admit it or not, is very common.
I never see you talk about any of it. And like,
this is
what's
why,
mental health is society?
I want to make the point. This is why I tell people that they need to find God and go to church, because it's like all of these problems that you're describing, if somebody authentically has a relationship with Christ and they're living in alignment with the word, like it's going to mitigate 99% of these issues.
Do know
that's complete horseshit. I know so many people that are living their lives aligned to the Lord, all right, and they going out there being the biggest douchebags out there, but they use the fact that they're living a religious lifestyle as a crutch. That's what it is. Look at some of these Catholic priests. Okay, one would say, hey, these Catholic priests are living their lives like the good word would require them to, and then in the background, they're trying to bang little boys. Like, come on, bro. It's enough with this bullshit idealistic world where it's like, oh, if you just adhere to the principles of Jesus, or you adhere to the principles of Allah, your life will be so much peaceful. That's bullshit. If religion actually solved problems, why is there still death, misery, and suffering? Even though a lot of these religions have been dominant for years. The only explanation I can surmise from it is that a lot of these religions actually participated in the same level of corruption they were trying to preach against. Let's just be real. Religion ain't doing shit but serving man's purposes. Yeah, they give you hope here, give you hope there. Realistically, a lot of people are preaching this shit. They're still human beings. They're subject to temptation. So miss me with this bullshit. If you live your life 100% by the Bible or by the Quran, you're just gonna have a peaceful life. No, you're not. It's not true. Don't stake your life on that. If you're in an abusive situation, God isn't gonna come down and save you. He already has a plan for you. Go get a divorce. If you choose to stay, you're literally going against God's will. You know what that reminds me of? It reminds me of that story, right? Where someone told me the story, and let me know if y'all heard this, but they were saying a guy was drowning, right? He was a very religious guy who was drowning, and the storm was raging in the seas, and he's over here, praying to God and saying, God, please help me. I'm drowning. I'm about to die. All right. So as he's praying, a guy in the boat comes over, right? He says, hey, you need help? He's like, no. It's okay, bro. I'm praying to God right now. God gonna save me. All right. He keeps praying. Another guy in the boat comes in. Hey, bro, you need help? No. I'm good. I'm praying for God. He's gonna come save me. All right. The guy leaves. Another guy in the boat comes in, sees the guy. Hey, bro, you need help? The guy says, no. I'm praying to God right now. He's gonna come down and save me. It's cool. And then the guy ends up drowning. He dies. All right. He gets to heaven and he says, God, I'm confused. Why didn't you save me? God said, I sent you 3 boats, nigga. You didn't jump not one of them. You see what I'm saying? So sometimes a lot of the things you guys are talking about, I think y'all just waiting for miracles. Miracles don't happen, okay? They come in the form of reality, all right? Sometimes you have to recognize those opportunities when they're there. Don't sit there and look a gift horse in the mouth and say, nope, I'm waiting for divine intervention, please. It doesn't work that way.
Conservatives that is going to church and they still abuse their partners.
Wait, hold on.
I'm asking you if you're going to stick up for those
you know, conservative.
And what would you say? Would you tell them to divorce it? Would you tell them to stick along in an abusive relationship?
You say you know conservative men right now that are beating their wives.
It's going to be a lot harder for you to divorce because you have the pressure to stick. Because you guys are saying like no matter what happens, you stick in the marriage, even though it might be.
But again,
really,
to go back, Melina, to go back to the point.
Wisely.
Nev, 1 second. To go back to the point that I was making, you know, encouraging people to go to church. If somebody's in a situation like that, this is a concern that ought to be brought before the church and taken care of with the elders and the other people that are there. And like, let's say John is beating his wife, right? And his wife comes to the church leitership and she's like, hey, like, this is a problem.
With two black
I want
eyes,
to divorce him.
like, hey,
you know, at that point in time.
Yo, that nigga's crazy.
He's crazy. I told y'all, yo, out of every reaction we've done, Playback is the only one to call out that religious dude as being cringe. I'm not the only one that senses. That guy is a cringe fuck, bro. I won't be surprised if he's actually abusive in his personal life. Hands down, bro. Either this religious bullshit is an act to try to make a point over this these women you're debating red pill topics on, or it's a kind of like a shroud you're trying to cover yourself up in to hide from your real world sins, that you actually abuse women behind the scenes. Wait, we don't know that. But Steven Crowder said the exact same thing, and he was preaching along them same religious lines. Come to find out, this nigga is a whole mental abuser back at home. So I won't be surprised if this dude over here who's talking about God and righteous men and all this, I won't be surprised if he got some bones in his closet that he's trying to clean up. I won't be surprised. It's cringe, bro. When people come out here, especially online, no different than that one girl, that same girl on the platform that was pretending to be a virgin. Y'all remember her? She was over here acting like she was a virgin. This girl right over here, y'all see her? This girl right over here. Hold up, let me make it full screen. Her right here, the one in the red. That's her, right? She's the one that talked about her being a virgin while talking about, yeah, but well, I don't like to get in relationships because these guys, when you let them hit, all right, then they start to whoa. What do you mean when you let them hit? I'm sorry, you're supposed to be a virgin. But she comes out here dressed in a nice, pretty little dress and or whatever you want to call that. She's got the nice little bun in her hair, or not bun, rose in her hair, right, to make herself look real nice, real sweet, real innocent. But realistically, y'all need to understand something. People dress how they want you to perceive them, all right? So if I see a girl going above and beyond to dress like a little goody two-shoe angel, all right, rather than dressing for her, what do you call it? Whatever the current style or theme is, right? Listen, I'm not trusting it because that person's putting on a front. To me, that's what, male or female, you're putting on the front. So when you come online, you're talking, oh yeah, you know, Jesus, what Jesus would want, what would Jesus do? If you're out here dressing like this clown over here, all right, talking, but Jesus this, Jesus that, all right, to me, you're trying to sell an image. Again, word to the wise. And those of you out there, y'all are wise people. People dress how they want you to perceive them. So if you're going out and about in the world, pay close attention to that, because a lot of times people don't even really have to tell you what they're all about. They wear it on their sleeves. You just got to be wise enough to figure that shit out. Don't trust people who are overly pushy with their dogmas. Don't trust people who are over. Look at MLD. He's overdressed to the platform right now. What does that tell you? All right, to us, he's trying to sell us the image that he's got money. He's a high value man. He's got the suit, right? He probably has some money. That's what he's trying to dress like. He wants you to perceive him as that. That's the reason why this bozo over here will be dumb enough to wear a suit, right, to a podcast. Okay, but realistically, he might not have as much money as he's claiming to have. Realistically, he might be wearing that suit because this dude, you know, he's preaching fitness and he's preaching exercises and consistency and discipline. And the reason why he's wearing that suit, because maybe he's trying to hide the fact that he hasn't been very consistent or disciplined when it comes to his diet or workout regimen. Okay? So just keep that in mind. People, listen, people who come out here and they dress broke sometimes have the most money. I'm just say that right now. Okay, don't. That's why it'll be sometimes people that wear suits. Listen, the only time you wear a suit is when you're going to work for somebody who doesn't have to wear a suit. You get what I'm saying? Peep game, okay? People dress how they want you to perceive them. That's the last lesson you're gonna learn on this channel. Let's continue.
This is why I tell people that they need to find God and go to church, because it's like all of these problems that you're describing, if somebody authentically has a relationship with Christ and they're living in alignment with the word, like it's gonna mitigate 99% of these issues.
But I do know conservatives that is going to church and they still abuse their partners.
Wait, hold on.
I'm asking you if you're going to stick up
for
those
people. Conservative.
And what would you say? Would you tell them to divorce it? Would you tell them to stick along in an abusive relationship?
You say conservative men right now that are beating their wife.
It's going to be a lot harder for you to divorce because you have the pressure to stick. Because you guys are saying like no matter what happens, you stick in the marriage, even though it might be.
But again, to go back, Melina, to go back to the point. Nev, 1 second. To go back to the point that I was making, encouraging people to go to church. If somebody's in a situation like that, this is a concern that ought to be brought before the church and taken care of with the elders and the other people that are there. And like, let's say John is beating his wife, right? And his wife comes to the church leadership and she's like, hey, like, this is a problem.
With two black guys.
I want to divorce him.
Like, hey,
at that point in time.
Yo, that nigga's cringe.
He's cringe.
Oh my God.
He's cringe.
Yo, bro.
He's cringe.
I can't stand
He's
this.
cringe.
Oh my God. He's like
literally making jokes of a woman being like, he's
oh
cringe.
My God.
He's and again, what's so crazier is that then y'all want people to believe that y'all would take this stuff serious while one man is literally on the panel making fun of a woman. That's what I'm saying. So like he's literally hurting the cause.
They need to pack him up.
He needs to pack him up.
He's making y'all look bad.
He's making y'all look much worse. How would anybody ever think that y'all would ever take these type of situations serious when there's a nigga on the stage right on the panel right now making light of it, and you think that I'm supposed to feel comfortable with coming to you all privately to deal with this stuff in real life? But there's somebody who's making light of it right now, and you're not saying anything. If anything, you laugh along with this.
The church leadership can step in and be like, yo, John, why are you beating your wife?
Which honestly, I appreciate them asking. A lot of institutions wouldn't do that.
True.
Yeah,
there might
be a lot of institutions won't ask you why you're beating your wife. I'm sorry, there are a bunch of domestic violence clinics and centers all over the nation. Okay, they're institutions as well, and they would be interested to know why you're beating on your girlfriend or your girlfriend's beating on her boyfriend. That, like, what are you talking about? Listen, there's institutions outside of religion now that can help out with these situations. It's just that a lot of people aren't finding those resources, or worse yet, they can't even find those resources. And you got these dudes just laughing about it. It's crazy to me, bro.
And they ought to. And this is
I've already told her twice.
This is a positive. This is a positive.
Look at him. I already told her twice. I punched her once. I punched her the other time. This is funny, right? Yo, MLD, dog. MLD. I think you've officially secured the spot as the biggest clown in the entire Red Pill space, okay? I don't know how you can even take that spot from Rolo, but you just managed to do that. You just managed to take the title from Rolo as the biggest clown in the manosphere, and now you are officially Modern Life Dating the biggest clown in the manosphere. And it sucks because you got all these new subscribers. No wonder you get less views. It makes perfect sense because they subscribe to your channel and then they go watch your content and they're like, oh shit, yeah, this guy's actually stupid. Boop, and they're out. That's what it is. Because how else do we explain a channel that has 218,000 subscribers, but it takes them a week to get 800 views? Does that make sense to y'all? It doesn't. It don't make sense to me, and I'm so confused how these red pillars are doing it. I'm genuine, like I'm confused, and I'm actually curious. Like, how are y'all growing so fast, but your views aren't matching your growth? Like if you got 218,000 subscribers, you should at least a minimum be getting 40K per video drop, no matter what. And that's 40K on the low end. You should be on the high end. You should be getting like at least 100,000 to even double the views you're getting per drop. Y'all not good earners. Y'all are not good earners, bro. Y'all should get capped. Like all of y'all. Y'all are either just cheating or something, but y'all are not good earners. But yeah, y'all come online and pretend to be rich. We know y'all broke. We know y'all broke.
Positive social pressure that comes with being part of the body of Christ and like actually being involved, right? Like there's so many benefits to people seeking God and going to church and like being a part of a community like that, where a situation like you're describing arising, like there's going to be a ton of social accountability. But when people are atomized and they're separated from the rest of their community and stuff, and they're, you know, they have like a secular conservative home, you don't have that social net to like protect
people. Used to get lynched for doing things like that.
What is with the reference to black situations, bruh? First, you're bringing up BLM, and this dude is talking about, yeah, people used to get lynched for stuff like that. Who used to get lynched? What are you talking about? Who is this discount freaking Game of Thrones member over here? You look like a tall dwarf. Like, what are you talking about? Well, why are you bringing up lynching? Like, you know, hey, this dude is dog whistling, and I don't like the direction he's dog whistling at, bro. He might be an undercover racist. That's the vibes I'm picking up, bro. He's going after BLM. He's going after lynching. The only people that got lynched back in the days you talking about were people that didn't look like you, guaranteed. So why is that even an argument? There's not even a black person on this podcast right now. Well, what are you saying? I'm so confused. This dude, bro, this dude rubbed me the wrong way. I'm not gonna lie, dude. This dude over here, this discount fucking Jon Snow over here, he rubbed me the wrong way, dog, because I was getting mad racist vibe from him. Like, this dude probably don't like black people, dog. I'm gonna be real. Matter of fact, I don't think anybody on this panel will fuck with black folks. We know MLD don't, because there's a footage out there of him calling black folks monkeys. He was calling them monkeys. He thinks black people are uneducated monkeys. That's MLD. That's the guy they're platforming on this podcast. And what do you know? He fits right on in among all these other hateful people over here. The only person that's missing is Nick Fuentes. You can sit him right down in between MLD and this ghost lady over here. Like, why is he bringing up lynching? Bruh, watch that guy. I don't know who he is. I don't know where he came from. Watch him, bro. This dude is filled with hate. That's all I gotta say to that, bro. But let me play this little video one more time for our boy MLD, and then we'll close out the show. Let me see if we can find that video real quick.
Make money, make muscles, learn game. If you're listening to me, you're a hot dude. The hot dude life is not about your physical appearance. The hot dude life is a mentality.
Beta! When I went on the Fresh and Fit podcast, I sat between those two black girls, and they're just like, yeah, like I wouldn't date you. I was like, so I'm a multi-million-dollar earner. I'm fucking, like, I can provide, I can do things, but because I'm not black and 6 foot tall, you'll just completely write me off from your dating pool. And just seeing like just the level of delusion on that panel with all the chicks, and seeing like, you know, what they're at what level they are exhibiting these levels of psychosis and delusion.
You're supposed to be alpha. You're supposed to be that nigga, and you froze up like a little thought. You bitch ass nigga.
Make money, make muscles, learn game.
You're supposed to be alpha. Hey, y'all want to know where that came from? That was Solo TV 84. Like, Solo TV 84, it's like an off and off thing with me and him, right? You know, it's like 1 minute I gotta criticize him because he's being a bozo, and the other minute, you know, he makes sense. And he's one of the manosphere founders, or OGs, as he likes to adorn himself. All right, that was Solo. You're supposed to be alpha. Y'all know who he was talking about? He was talking about alpha male strategies. For those of y'all don't know where that video came from, he was criticizing alpha male strategies. And if you don't know who alpha male strategy is another one of these red pill godfathers, right? And he's been at the game for a long time. He's got 1 million+ subs, solid subscriber base. But for a while, the dude did pickup. A lot of people didn't know alpha male strategy did pickup. So he did a video that has since been deleted. All right. And it was him going up to approach some girls, right? It was bad. It was bad, bro. It was really bad. I'm not gonna. If y'all can find the video, send it to me. We could probably react to it. It was bad, bro. Bro froze up. Right. That's what that phrase came from. That was Solo TV 84 going in on alpha male strategies because he was scared to approach this group of white girls, right? And he was egging his audience on during the live stream. He was like, y'all want to go see me? Y'all want to see me approach these girls over here? Y'all want to see me talk to these white girls over here? How about these? He called them snow bunnies. He's like, y'all want to see me talk to these snow bunnies over here? And he was walking towards these girls, and then somehow just He just walk right past him without him saying nothing. And then he starts making up excuses like, hey, listen, they must have missed it. They probably didn't hear me. I'm sorry, bro. Listen, I fuck with alpha male strategies. All right, I fuck with the dude, but like, still, dog. Hey, listen. You're supposed to be alpha, dog. You can't call yourself alpha, and you not even approaching these white girls, bro. I thought they were easy, dog. Come on, you're supposed to be alpha. Listen, I love alpha male strategies, but I can't defend that video, bro. That video is indefensible, bro. We literally watched you try to approach these chicks and you bitched out. We saw it, bro. And that's why you deleted the video. And it wasn't me calling him out, okay? It was another Godfather, Solo TV 84. So that's where that soundtrack came from. That shit was hilarious, bro. But other than that, listen, a lot of this shit that alpha male strategy says, it's got some point to it, all right? I'm just saying, when you look at the real world action and you put these dudes to the test, a lot of them fold. That's just what it is, guys. Listen, guys, I appreciate you being here. You can be anywhere in the world right now, but you're here with Duke the Don, and I appreciate it. Some people are going to be mad about the alpha male strategy shit. I don't care. That nigga folded, bruh. Listen, somebody sent me the video, and I was just like, hey, bruh, it's bad. I give people I respect the benefit of the doubt, all right? I always do that, but you see a clear-cut video of dude being scared to approach girls, but comes online and calls himself alpha. Hey, bro, you got to answer for that first before you can teach anybody anything. That's all I've got for you guys today. Shout out for being here. You can be anywhere in the world right now. Hit the like, subscribe button, and the bell notification so YouTube lets you know whenever Duke the Don is clowning another one of these manosphere frauds. And we'll be back at it with another show. Peace.